But it must be that.
That's it. I think it's.
I thought they were chakras.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's yeah.
Then you're shy.
Did you get the agenda?
Seven's not enough.
No.
Since we have no official vice president.
As has been pointed out in our
Yes, I know.
governing council review,
Never had one.
Hannah,
We have
should
had-
should
Well,
we
I
start
mean,
the live
since I've
stream?
been here.
that's true.
We can't live stream.
Oh, we can't.
me,
It's not
that's-
working yet? Okay.
The whole history.
She has. Hannah, are we using your Zoom or my?
We're using mine. I
Oh,
did it
so-
all,
oh,
but
oh.
we can't live stream for
There was a
24 hours.
co-chair, but
Okay,
never a
okay.
VP.
So, yeah,
Oh,
I got it
great.
all working, but YouTube holds you up for 24 hours. So I put this link on the website. It is there with a notice saying we will be live streaming in September. And there is no PED jail.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
can control technology issues.
I
like,
can't
we do the
control
best we
that.
can with the
Yeah.
resources
I
we
was
have.
given no technical guidance, just told live stream. And so,
Oh my gosh.
What about
Here we are.
Twitch? You can also Twitch.
who
That's-
can?
Twitch.
Through Zoom, the live stream platforms that it supports are Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, that's it?
And
Just the
that's it.
two? Wow.
And I could download another streaming application, but that costs money. And I have a YouTube channel all set up that will be
Right.
live streaming it from here on out. But because I didn't get it all figured out till today.
It's
this is
not
where we
happening.
are. Yeah.
that's
All
fine.
right. I don't know, does someone want to call us? to order?
So nobody's heard from Alex. We
I haven't.
actually don't know if she's coming or not.
I assumed she
Well, she
was.
sent the agenda, so she knows about it.
I know Lila's back today, so they're back in town.
I'm not
Somebody have her
quite
number to text her.
prepared.
I'm texting her right now.
Tu bene? Forgotten.
Sto lavorando.
Envious, all your pictures.
Maybe you're taking notes on my time. I started, but if you're doing
It's
it,
mostly something.
I mean, there's been no,
I'm
There's
taking
no
notes. I
election.
figure we're still in the rolls till the end of the agenda.
okay.
uh, Unless we want to move that up and then switch at
Well,
the
we
moment.
want to
I
get
was
to Justine,
Assuming I was
because she
secretary.
has other meetings she has to go to tonight too.
And are we recording this?
I have
Sebastian?
started recording.
Okay.
Now she's in, I'm out of that business.
Yeah, I am
Okay.
running the meeting. It is.
Because
So
that
for
is what
all
I
of
use
it,
for the minutes.
yeah, and
I think we should start the meeting.
You want to facilitate?
Sure.
One Alex to the other.
Sure, yeah. So let's call this meeting in order. It's what time? 5:34. Who wants to read the mission and vision?
I'll be happy to do that. The ALCS mission at Aldo Leopold Charter School, the Human and Natural Environment Service texts and lab for learning through direct experience, inquiry, and stewardship. And the ALCS vision, Aldo Leopold Charter School graduates will use the skills, perspectives, and information they gain at school to enhance their own lives and to advance social, economic, and environmental sustainability.
Okay, roll call. We got Sebastiano, Harry, Jim, Ms. Mackenzie. Then we have, Justine Behill, Hannah.
Ali Hennigan.
Review the minutes. Didn't we postpone that table that last month? I think that was tabled, wasn't it, last month? or did
we didn't meet.
or
We didn't
not last
meet
month, but
July.
the-
Right.
June's haven't been approved.
They have not.
Are you suggesting that May's weren't either? Because I think May's were.
I think I missed the last meeting.
Okay.
Twice, so that's why. Okay, right. Got it.
So we need to approve June's
We need to approve June.
minutes.
Watched the video. I didn't see any changes I needed. We have a motion to approve June meetings.
Consider it bad form for me to make the motion.
So it's anyway.
Second.
You have to first.
You have
Oh,
to
you
make a
haven't?
motion.
Did you make
Well,
a
since I
motion?
wrote them, I
You
don't
can't.
usually move approve.
Okay, I make the motion to. approve the
I'll
minutes.
second it. Agenda review,
I vote aye.
Aye. Yeah, we need to approve.
aye.
You're doing well. Good training.
Oh, it is an action item. Well, okay, yeah. Aye, so everybody in favor, meeting from June 2024, the minutes are approved. Agenda review, action item, any changes?
I think Carrie had a change.
So, thank you. The policy revisions that the policy committee has forwarded to the governing body should be listed under new business, so we can go over them, but they should not be action items yet, since we normally allow a month. And I'm sorry I didn't catch that, Sebastian. I looked and said, oh, he's got them
My
all.
bad.
And I
Okay,
never
so
looked.
let's review the agenda.
I
Let's
never looked on the
remove,
web.
yeah.
So as part of agenda review, I'd like to remove item C from the action items.
14, you want to table 14C then?
Just
Delete.
delete
Just
that
delete
item.
it.
It shouldn't be
It's not
there
even
yet.
tabled, yeah.
Oh, so,
Just exit out.
okay.
It will be under new business or no?
It should
It
be
it
under
is
new
under new
business.
business.
as
It
it is.
shouldn't
Oh, I
have
see,
been
I
under
see.
both.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Oh,
And
okay,
Harry,
it's
isn't that
double.
true also of the bylaw revisions?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. Did we already discuss them as a committee?
We haven't.
We've
You
not?
and I sat and
Yeah.
edited them. I haven't shared them with anyone, did
Okay.
you?
No, I guess not.
So, okay,
So item B should also be struck
from action.
from action for the same reason.
So it is new business, but not an action.
Any other changes?
For me, thanks, Alex.
All right, we have a motion to approve agenda deleting 14C. Motion,
And B, sorry.
oh, and B?
B and C.
Oh, the bylaw revisions? Okay, so motion to delete action items 14B and C. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I
I
second.
make the motion.
Okay,
I make the motion to remove point B and C from the action item.
Second.
everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's everybody. Public comment. Nobody in the public is here, okay. Business manager report. I guess, just.
All right, yes. Can you hear me?
We can. I feel
It's
like my
very low.
speaker is low.
Low.
But I will turn it up. Oh, it's all the way up. It sounds like it's coming, I have checked it. It's supposed to be coming out of our speaker, but it seems to be coming out of my computer. Yeah,
Me?
Was this?
Yeah, you can-
there it goes. There we go. Try again. Will you just
Can you hear me?
fixed it?
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Justine V. Hill. I'm with the V. Hill Group. Me and my husband both own the company. We've been doing this, well, I've been doing this for about 13 years. My husband's been doing it for about 16 years. His dad did start the company back in 2013. Before that, we were with the New Mexico Coalition for Charter Schools, kind of doing the business management services under them. And then we kind of branched off to do our own thing. And that's when we started the V. Hill Group. That's all about me. Do you have any questions for me so far?
Nope.
No? Okay. The reports that I did send you, I failed to remember that there was no July meeting, and usually the way that I do the reports is month end. So for the July meeting, it should have been the June month end report. So what I sent you was, since we are now in August, I sent you month end for July, so it would be the new fiscal year. I did actually do new reports for the whole fiscal year 24. I did those today. I can send them to you all after the meeting for you to review. And I can kind of just, I'll share my screen and go over them briefly. And then if you have any questions after maybe reviewing them further, maybe we can talk about it. If you want to give me a call or send me an email about them. Let me share my screen here. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yep.
So these are the reports I will be sending out after the meeting. I apologize. These were not sent out before. There's a couple of different reports, and I know these probably look different than what you are used to seeing, and I'll just kind of explain why we do these reports. So these were from Michael B. Hill. That was my father-in-law who started the company. He was the previous APS CFO many years ago, and he did these reports, and he's been, creating these and, kind of showed us how and what boards like to see. And so I'll start with the revenue report. You can see this is for last fiscal year, and this is capturing July 1st through June 30th. The revenue report will show you what's budgeted to be received, what's actually been received, meaning this money has actually been deposited in the bank account, and then what's available to be received. And the reason why these numbers are negative is because there's no budget there. We did receive, for example, some donations, but there was no budget authority for that. And which is not bad, but I would say on a quarterly basis, we should be doing budget adjustments for any revenues received. So I will make sure and get that done going forward. Still in the revenue report, you can see all of the funds that the school has and then the current budget. I'm not sure how RFRs were done in the past, but the requests for reimbursements are done on the federal and state funds. I do those on a monthly basis now. You can see here, it looks like, most of all RFRs were done. So you can see, for example, the rural and low income schools, there was a budget of $13,817, and we did receive that total amount last fiscal year. So these are all of the funds, again, the budget, what actually got received in the bank account. And then another report that I submit is the expenditure report. And so the reason why this report is really important because we want to make sure, and what the PED and what the auditors look at is they look at the budget at the function level. So starting with the operational funds, this is all your operational funds here, and I have it by function. And so they want to make sure all functions are positive. If they are not positive, that tells me that we need to do a budget adjustment request. Bars were due, I believe, July 12th. So there was no time to get these approved by you all since you didn't have a governing council meeting in July. Usually what I do with other boards is if there's no meeting in July or even in June, in May, at the May GC meeting, I ask for kind of a blanket approval for any last minute bars that are due to close out the fiscal year. Because I know, there's with the budget review at the end of the year, there's sometimes some last minute bars that need to be done. So this is going to show negative, but overall, your operational fund, we did end with $534,000. So I think that's really well going into fiscal year 25. And the reason why, again, this is important is because we do submit quarterly reports to PED. It's called the cash report. And that, again, is something that they do review, is they do look at your budget and making sure all functions are positive. And so the way this report is broken down is, again, by fund and function. So you can see, again, your USDA food reimbursement fund, how all of that was spent. You have your student activity funds. And if I scroll down, you can see we'll start with the federal funds. It looks like we spent all of Title I and IDEA B. Title II. So a lot of the federal funds were spent down, which is really good. ESSER 2 is no longer, so that one does not carry over. ESSER 3, at the beginning of last year, they did tell us that we had to spend this fund by June 30th. They now have extended that to September 30th. So we do have 58,000 to spend by September 30th this year. And then the last RFR due in October.
Justine?
Yeah.
Sorry, this is Harry. So we spent out of ESSER 3, it looks like 23,000 or so before spending down our ESSER 2.
Yes.
Is it too late to recategorize those?
It is too late, yes. ESSER 2 was expired, I believe, last June, so June 2023. So that is, yeah, that one's gone.
I wonder why it's still in our books. Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
I'm not sure either, but I'll make sure that's not in the books anymore.
Thank you.
Some of
14,000.
these,
Heartbreaking.
That's, yep. And we didn't even know.
Do you know
I
what
have no
ESER
clue.
2 is for?
Yeah, all of the ESSERs were COVID money,
Okay, that's what I thought, which is kind of
but it,
like,
yeah,
like.
and that's the reason why I like to show you all these reports, is kind of show you what funds you do have, how we're spending them, and what we have available. So this is kind of like our monthly review and say, hey, you know, we're almost at the end of the year. We haven't spent this fund. Let's get these funds spent. So this is a good report that I like, kind of one that I use a lot to kind of see where we're at. Library fund does carry over, so you have that to use fiscal year 25. And then again, showing all your other funds. And I'm still getting familiar with them. You guys have a lot of funds that I'm not too familiar with. But you know, working, you know, for the next year, I will definitely get familiar with them.
Is there any expiration in the?
And what I mean by that is, like, do they expire at the end of the year? Do they carry over? So that's just something I'll have to look into.
Can library funds be used for textbooks or just?
Just library books. You
Just
cannot.
library.
They are really specific.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was just curious.
It has to be
because-
books. It can't
no,
be-
it can be other
It
materials.
can be software, it can be computers, but it has to be
Magazines.
magazines, absolutely,
bookshelf.
subscriptions. So subscriptions to like the
Yes.
New York Times you can do, but like digital too.
Right, EBSCO host. I mean, I don't know.
Yes,
what's-
all of those you can do. You can't buy tape, you can't buy textbooks.
Tape? Right, have you?
I
It's the line.
tried tape, no.
To take the books.
Those librarians.
To take the bindings.
Well, there is specific tape for library books.
Don't get her started.
And with the library fund as well, you can only buy 6 of the same book, no more. No more than 6.
Not
Copy.
fast.
Your special capital outlay, this does carry over. Again, it's used for a specific reason. So we have about 406,000 there. And then of course your HB 33 and SB 9 funds do carry over into the next year. At the end of the year, we close out all purchase orders. So that's why there's no purchase orders report. But if you see, and I'll go over the July reports, you'll see that there's purchase orders that are issued. And so that report kind of changes on a month-to-month basis, depending if POs are closed out after we pay the invoice. But you can see what POs that we have opened. The next report that I submit is the bank account register activity report. I don't do it for the whole year since we have monthly meetings. I do it just for the month prior. So you can see the detail on that. You'll see June 1st to June 30th. This is all your revenues that we received in the bank account in June, and then all the expenses that went out in June. If you have any questions, let me know. So we have
Justine,
revenue. Go ahead.
up on the top of this second page here, we're looking at the top of the third. Yeah, right there. I think the BMO Harris Bank, I guess at the bottom of the first page. That's our procurement card, I believe. Do you usually issue a report detailing those purchases?
No, but I can do that. I can add that as part of these reports.
But you don't usually, most schools don't ask you to do that?
Most of my schools don't have a P card, so,
Okay, well,
and no, the ones that do, they do not ask for the detail, which I think is a good idea. So if that's something that you want, I can definitely add that to the report.
Actually creates it, I think it's already done, because I sign off on it. I go through the whole, everything that was purchased with it. So you can ask Kathy, but I think she probably already has that report.
well, then, okay, we don't need to give it extra to Justine if you just
Right.
want to have Kathy.
She
do
can
that.
give it to me and then I can add it to these reports.
Then it's all in one.
Okay.
Sure.
That sounds great. And at some point, I would like to have a discussion about us having a P card.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Is it a pro or a con?
I'm
He's
against
con.
it. I've been
And for
against
good
it
reason.
from the beginning.
But there are also good reasons to have it. I do understand.
We never had one. When I was business manager, we didn't.
You didn't have 210 kids and 40 staff.
That goes both ways.
That's true.
We're using shekels. Using shekels back.
Shekels.
The next report that I do include is the bank reconciliation showing the beginning balance as of in June of 1,043,000. We had cleared transactions of 383,000, deposits of 535,000, which leaves the ending balance of 1.1 million. There were still some outstanding checks that were mailed out that vendors had not cashed yet of 133,000, which brings our true balance to 1,062,000 at the end of June. Another report that I do include is the balance sheet. And this can show you what our bank account is made up of per fund. So you can see each fund that the school has with the cash in it. The federal and state funds will always be negative, most likely, just due to the timing of RFRs. We're constantly spending those down, maybe with salaries. And then I do RFRs on a monthly basis, so it'll show negative just with the timing of the RFRs and spending those down. But you can see here all the school's funds, and then it should tie to the bank reconciliation. Do you have any questions on these reports? This is basically all that I submit. So if there's anything you want me to change or add.
And you sent these to GC a couple days ago, right?
These ones I didn't, but and that because I forgot that we didn't have a July meeting, but I will send these out now. For
I got it.
everybody.
But they're
Mine
different.
are
They're-
not the same. They're not the
Yeah.
same.
These are different than
These
what's
are
on them.
different.
I just looked.
Yeah. So these are the reports, I sent out July, so the new fiscal year. Since we are in August, I usually do month end. So I did send out July's. And really, there's not much to report on these reports because we're only a month in. And I'll just kind of jump into them real quick. But again, this is fiscal year 25, July 1st through July 31st, showing our budgeted revenues for the year. And then what we've received so far. So we have received some revenues from the prior year. It looks like some reimbursements from the prior year. And then the expenditure report, again, looking really healthy, and that's just because we're just starting the fiscal year. We've entered all employee contracts into our system. We've opened a few purchase orders to start up the school year. But again, I'm sure this will change in the coming months. I have a meeting with Hannah next week to kind of dive deeper into this budget, making sure we're allocating things in the right funds. So if we're not spending any of these down, that's what we're going to talk about to make sure we're spending all of our federal and state funds correctly. So right now, again, not much activity since we're only a month in. This is the issued purchase orders report that I include showing the current open POs when you look at the type here, regular is usually a one-time expense and dollar is like a monthly expense. So that's how we distinguish the two.
They just say one time.
Yeah,
regular and
Because
monthly.
technically the dollar PO is for a dollar limit that you spend up to,
Okay,
and so that's why it's called dollar. And the regular is just, this is for this purchase. It's gonna close when you finish this purchase. You got all the items checked out.
Mhm.
That's why.
it feels like regular would be the monthly one because it's regular.
It does, I agree. Regular.
Just regular chart, yeah, give me the regular.
So these are the reports that I did email you guys. This is, yeah, what we're going over now. So then the bank account register activity, just for the month of July, showing what revenues we did receive in July, as well as the expenses. And then the last report, the bank reconciliation. So we had an ending balance as of July 31st of 985,000 with outstanding checks of 15,000, which brings a balance of 969,000. The reason why I don't have a balance sheet for this fiscal year yet is because I'm still closing out the books and closing that cycle off for fiscal year 24. I actually completed that today. So next month's reports will have that balance sheet if that's something that you are looking forward to seeing. Do you have any questions?
I think those are really helpful. You know, you saw the old business manager reports we got, and I just find it more comprehensive and it helps me see really easily, like, oh, look, we need to spend this money, which I really appreciate. I had no idea about the SR2 money. And I didn't start as director till July 1, so I can see no one mentioning it, but still, I had been in GC meetings and I had no idea. So it's really good to see that and know we can avoid that in the future. I appreciate that, Justine. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Does anyone else have questions for Justine?
No, that was great. Thank you, Justine.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I'll let you know, we're talking later about moving our meetings to accommodate your schedule. I'll tell them about that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll talk next week on Wednesday. We have our meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
So do you need anything else from me? Do I need to stay on for anything else? Any other questions?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
We will see you all next month.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
That brings us to staff.
Okay, so for anyone familiar with our normal routine, we did our backpack base camp in high school. Seems like that went really well. They did the rotations of Gomez Peak Ascent and the EAS and Camp Craft and all the things we've done before. Some new additions to that were some procedures and activities from Will Tracy. So he's been consulting on some of our experiential ed practices, and it sounds like that was well received. I think staff and students enjoyed sort of the freshness of a different way to do some of those rotations. And tomorrow they are doing Forest Day. So there'll be a fun day in the forest, more community building, norms, getting to know students and preparing them for experiential ed. Middle school had maybe a slightly different introduction. They're no longer doing mini villages. They did a lot of things on campus, orienting and orienteering. So they did a campus tour and they practiced using maps, and they also went downtown and kind of got familiar with some of the places they'll be exploring with their Friday experiential ed, and then also norms and culture building and getting to know each other, getting to know the different teachers, a lot of different variations of groupings by either advisory or grade level. But it sounds like from what I'm hearing from staff and students, everyone is tired and a little bit sunburned, but not everyone's sunburned, but they've been having a good time. It seems like that's been a good start. And I am slowly, well, it's goes in spurts of getting YCC internship set up. So I had a bunch of students turn in stuff day one, like they were ready. And then I'm, now pulling at the last few students to get their internship things.
What's the first Friday for YCC?
YCC will start work on the 23rd.
Okay.
And their paperwork in theory is due on the 16th. But I'm sure there's gonna be a couple people I'm still chasing down after that. But I'd say I've had like 3/4 of the students I've figured out their placements, and it's just
That's pretty good.
yeah. And there's still some odd things like you didn't sign this thing, or I need a void to check for this. But yeah, it's going pretty well. It's a steep learning curve. It's a lot. It's a big job. Yeah.
Do you know why they didn't do mini villages?
They didn't do them last year either because of in integrating new students to try and greet them with more of a warm hug than chaos and challenge. They did mini villages at the end of last year and they found it was a great way to wrap up the year. And I think they might do that again. And yeah, I don't know. They all agreed that it was just too much. And because we've grown, because there are 90 kids in the middle school and the chaos of them building with mud and scalding heat and having to walk really far to do it and lug water when they don't know each other in middle school was apparently a lot.
So we're capacity in mid-school.
We are, and in the high school.
We have
211 kids today. We're hoping someone.
Congratulations.
Someone's gonna drop out.
Someone.
But wasn't the charter 210?
Yes.
So we're not violating any.
No.
anything?
Actually,
Nobody
we
cares?
were 210 a couple weeks ago. We have lost at least 2 kids who were enrolled.
That's
who are
still a
no
great
longer.
number.
So
That's
we're,
amazing.
but we are at capacity.
That's amazing. But so are schools, like losing all the kids in school. It's good.
We're all losing. I mean, we're not losing.
We're not.
kids, But the
That's what I mean.
county
The county
is overall. The
No.
trend of moving, young families moving away affects everyone for sure.
Any questions about start of the year stuff? I think what else to report on, but
Oh, you have another report.
I know I do have another report. I mean, there's also there's also committee reports in between. I can
Oh,
wait or
that's true.
I don't know. if I'm allowed to skip to this.
No, we'll do committee. Because then mine is attached.
I know.
Sorry.
Do you know how the new teachers are adjusting?
I think they are enjoying getting to know the students and getting a feel for Aldo. I definitely got the feeling that they were a bit overwhelmed, and we talked about needing planning time to actually plan their classes because this whole first week they're out in the field the whole time. Their normal planning period doesn't exist that first week, and they were kind of expecting some of that.
Taken by surprise.
And then they're like, wait, I have to teach on Monday and I don't get a planning until midday Monday. So when am I supposed to plan that? I'm like, yeah.
Allie
sorry."
met with them after
I did. That's
school
what I was doing
today
after
and
school
helped
and-
them.
Gave them some support in figuring out that first day. And again, I was like, even though you've already done a lot of norms, this is your opportunity to establish routines in your classroom, to, figure out, what the dynamic is going to be, because they haven't necessarily been in their class groups. They were in other arrangements. And then other, activities orienting them to their subject areas. So we talked a lot about science and engineering, because that's my background. But, it seemed like after that meeting, they were feeling pretty good about it. But it's a lot for a teacher who's not used to the way we do things. And the first couple of weeks, be intense. So I'm going to be checking on them. I'm going to be checking on them a lot, And I told them if they, in between me coming down to visit, if they need me, they can always text or email, and I'll come right down.
Thank you.
I know of at least one teacher who is not teaching in this building because we're so full.
Because we're so full.
Are there others?
Where
Oh,
they
there's
teach-
one other
where they
class.
teach-
Oh,
So
no,
Avery is teaching, the museum has been kind enough to
No
allow
way.
us to use their downstairs classrooms.
Wow.
And that is that's Avery's classroom. We have a study hall that will be meeting in Miller
Wow,
instead of
awesome.
here.
Well,
Maya and I were talking about Dream Makers, and we're gonna get that starting again soon. And it's an after-school club, But she was like, well, last year we just met in my classroom. And I was like, Maya, neither of us have a classroom this year. She's like, oh, you have to ask another teacher. We're going to use the room after school. So yeah,
Wow.
we're very much at or beyond capacity for the building.
Could
Which-
have the Kim Lab or here.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Which
But it-
Avery class is in the museum? I'm just curious.
He has, IM 1 and 2 and Spanish.
Oh.
Yeah, he's,
Pretty
yeah.
much. except for PE.
CO and PE
You
are
and CO, you and
outside.
CO?
Yeah,
He
PE and
is.
CO are the only ones that will be in that.
So he's got 4 over there.
Yes. Yeah, because he has
Two Spanish.
more, yeah. No, just one Spanish, but two, he has, I can grab the schedule.
That's all right.
He has 2 separate maths. I think one is 2 sections. I think he has all the ninth graders
There you
for math,
You're right.
is my belief.
Are they charging us for that?
No, they're not.
Oh,
She has been so gracious, and so I'll have to think about that. And I'll talk about, I met with Dr. Shepherd today, so that's part of my
Okay,
report.
okay. So,
I think so.
Yeah.
yeah, thanks.
Alex Tager never texted me back.
Committee
She's just-
reports,
I hope
Hope
I
everything's
hope she's
okay.
okay too.
It's weird.
committee reports.
Policy, Harry, you want to talk about
Me?
it?
Well, we're talking about it under new business, aren't we? We've
Yeah,
got-
but do you want to it's just committee reports.
Just
like
say you
what
met
we're
it.
up to.
Well, so it sounded a lot like 2 months ago, which is that we have these sample policies from Kelly Callahan and people are meshing them with the policies we have. So some policies just need a little bit of updating and some policies have to be done from new. And as the committee goes through them and approves them, they will come to you for approval, just like these 9 that you have to discuss today.
Thank you.
Is that good?
I thought that was great.
Okay.
Risk management, no one else in here is in this, right?
I'm in it, but I still don't get,
Jim, you're not on it?
I'm not on, I've asked several, last.
Are
couple
we
meetings.
reorganizing committees when we reorganize roles today?
Maybe I moved to a different one, because remember there were too many on one and not enough, like on a finance one or something.
Well, we can look
It
at
might have
committees
moved me off.
when we do board reorganization or next time. So in risk management, we've been really busy and Pete Rankin is chair still, and he's helping out with an expanded risk management role. So there's all of the risk management in the field, but there's all of the risk management of running a school and running. We had a fire drill on Monday. That went okay. There's lots to work out, but it's good we did it because we're supposed to have a drill every week in the first month
Wow.
of school.
Right.
And Pete invited the fire marshal over and I invited Western over because we tend to have elevator issues when we run that drill. And so it's good. And we're on, he has a schedule for all our drills in place. He's been working on the reunification plan. And then we've been working with Will Tracy around some risk best practices in the field. And reporting and just sort of tracking all of that to look at patterns and everything. And there's more than that too, but, our safe school plan is up it has to be reworked this year. And so there are a series of 4 webinars that Pete and I will be attending to work on the safe school plan. And I'm sure there's more too, but I don't have my risk meeting notes with me.
I hope that you can use what,
I'm sure we can. Yeah, what's there?
because we're in the same building.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a large part of it.
Was it?
So the elevator's working now?
The elevator is
That's
working.
amazing.
It's
You missed
like
the
the
last
most
meeting.
exciting thing
We had a
ever.
big-
I was totally,
No,
I
it
wasn't
wasn't-
feeling
oh.
We had a
well
big
at it.
party at the last meeting.
Yeah, and then it broke
It
2
had just
days
happened.
later.
But I think even that had happened because
Oh,
because
okay.
Wayne broke it, right?
No, Wayne didn't break it. Western.
I thought you said Wayne came in, and couldn't
But
help
Wayne broke it
himself.
Oh, he broke it one time. That was before it got really truly fixed. It is, I believe, truly
Amazing.
fixed.
Okay,
So the
there's more drama than I knew about.
certification, that was
Oh,
one of the only big hiccups.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yes, absolutely. So I'm
Yeah, that's a
really,
huge,
really happy that it is functioning. When we ran the drill, it did do this weird thing, but Western was here to see it and they have the
That's
work
awesome.
order in and that's gonna get fixed. Yeah, we had no sound when we run a fire drill, so that's getting fixed.
It was just your lights, but
Just the lights.
Sign
You know,
language
we
fire
could,
drill.
we could hear you up there.
Could you?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, well, we also pulled, so
screaming?
first we ran one and there was no sound. Then we went and pulled one of the things, one of the guys from Western did to see if that activated the sound and it did. So you could hear that one.
Okay.
But the first one where kids were leaving, there was no sound.
So they will hear you talk, you know, the microphone. like
That is an AI voice, but
Oh,
thank
really?
you
I
that
thought
I
it was
sound
you.
so
Oh, wow.
composed.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna share my screen for the strategic plan goal manager reports. All right, so these are our tasks for August, which is a complete written job description for transportation fleet manager. I swear I never even saw this. I don't have that. That has not been completed. I will let Anthony know that 4C1 was a complete failure on my part. However, I actually might have a transportation fleet
Really?
manager,
Great.
which is more exciting than having a written job description for him. And I will, his name is Pat Avalos, and I will tell you about him when I talk about new hires. He is a third special education teacher and comes to us with over 30 years experience with every license on the planet, level 3 administrator, SPED teacher, and regular classroom teacher in all 4 cores in both. He was my boss at Snell. He was my principal for 7 years. He's a good
What about a
guy.
CDL?
And we are, he used to have one, it just
Well,
expired,
that's what we
but
need.
he said he would be willing. And he does have a suburban license
amazing.
and he did
Yeah,
have
that's
a
great.
CPR. His CPR is current. He is such an asset and such a wealth of experience and just like really easy to get along with people. He's integrating really well. He's been out at Backpack Base Camp all week. And so that
Just in anticipation of working with us, or does he have a kid here?
no, he doesn't. He's 60. You know, with that 30 years.
Does he have a
he's
grandkid here?
No, he works here as our SPED teacher, but he is gonna have lots of roles. So I hired him as a third SPED teacher, but his he has a big skill set, and he ran transportation for Cobrae schools for 1 year. And so I asked him if he would manage the fleet for me. He said
Amazing.
yes. And so we're still working on his schedule. He's going to be doing some SPED support in the high school, a little bit of push in the middle school. He's the liaison with our new remote SPED director, and he's our fleet manager. He can be me when I'm gone because he has a 3B. So he's just I was so excited when he applied for the position. So
What's his
excited.
name again?
Pat Avalos, AVALOS.
That's amazing.
It's awesome. It's just great. So
Yeah.
I don't have the written job description, but I have the job. So that's exciting. Yeah, exactly. No doubt. There you go. I will. Implement illustrative math curriculum at the high school level. Yes. So we had trainings last week for all of the math teachers, including all of the SPED teachers. So they all got the illustrative training. There's one more left that they'll do on August 21st, which will be an early release day. And Allie did some of it. Do you want to give some feedback on it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was, I really like illustrative mathematics. I feel like the methodology aligns really well with the way that I teach science. And so it's very student focused. So it's instead of the I do, we do, you do, it's starting with students grappling with problems. And so they kind of try and figure things out individually and then groups, small groups, and then sort of kind of collaboratively. And then the teacher sort of provide some facilitation. So it's supposed to be more sort of like starting with students. And it's pretty hands-on. It's very inquiry-based. So anyway, I think it's a great model. The trainings themselves were virtual, which was not ideal. So it was kind of fast paced and some of us were sort of struggling to keep up with everything and they
Long
would
day on
not
the
record
screen.
it and they
Yeah.
would not provide me the slides or materials, which was
What?
funny because then they talked about UDL and I'm like, so this is a good example of not UDL,
Right.
Universal Design for Learning.
Right.
And it's not.
Which means it's accessible to everyone. That's the
Especially with
idea
like technology.
UDL,
Like
is
UDL
that
started as
technology means
supports.
you can make everything accessible and not just, but yeah.
So
Yeah.
is illustrative math endorsed by the NSF, the National
Yes.
Science Foundation?
It is, and it also has all green on ed reports, which not that many.
Also has
curricula-
all what?
all greens on ed reports,
Right.
which means it's like the highest ranking you can
Yeah.
get. So they have ed reports does independent evaluation with.
And they can
pretty
be
rigorous
found on What
rubrics.
Works Clearinghouse.
Yeah.
And I will say the high school one isn't complete because they are still rolling out high school, but middle school is, I mean, as highly ranked as you can get, and it's the exact same thing in high school.
Yeah.
But they just added this in the last couple of
They do
years.
have an online platform that allows teachers to kind of like assign things to Google Classroom. And they also, for middle school, have all of their resources in English and Spanish, which is awesome. Not that we have any students who speak Spanish as a first language, but I love that those resources exist and they're working on that for high schools.
And for this year, we did buy both print and digital, because we had money for it. I think in the future, we'll just do digital, but we'll see. You know, I hate just being stuck with digital stuff. So we'll see how that
We'll
goes.
see how the teachers like.
Yeah, and it's up to them.
But I
For
do
sure.
think because two of our math and science teachers are new, sixth grade and seventh grade, having that support, having a curriculum, having that structure is really helpful. And they'll figure out what they want to do and what works for them as, their hero over the years. But that first year, it's really nice to have some
Have
of those
that framework,
materials. Yeah.
absolutely.
And they've expressed that they were thankful.
They were glad.
Yeah.
Good. Right, the staff mentoring plan for teachers. Ally, you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, I did that. I'm happy to share with you if you want to look at it. It is somewhat aspirational. It, really requires, I think, a level of like my entire job being mentoring staff and really being in their classrooms a whole lot more than I can physically be as one person and Hannah, also between the two of us. But it does have a pretty clear framework for, sort of check-in times and having some combination of classroom observations, but also then learning walks and sit downs with teachers to kind of talk about, their own reflection on their teaching. So it's not entirely original work. I pulled from other resources. People have been doing this for a long time, but yeah, if anyone wants to see that, I can send it out. It exists.
This is new. We've never had this.
We've never had a formal mentoring plan to the best of my knowledge.
We mentored
Yeah,
people.
we-
Jim, for example,
Yeah.
he always mentored new staff.
This is
But
just a
it wasn't
written way to do it.
formalized, like, was it? Am I wrong?
I would say it lacked a formal path. There was
Yeah.
a lot of, I've also been I've worked with some of the university students. That's very formal, almost to a fault.
Yeah.
Right.
And we could, something in between those two could really work well for us.
Well, I would love feedback because like, I've sent it to Hannah and Dr. Smith, and I don't know that either of them
I
have time to
haven't
really
even
even
looked
delve
at
into
it.
it. But again, at this point, it is aspirational in the sense that there hasn't been a lot of feedback or an opportunity to really implement it. I was working on it a lot of last year. I did mentor some teachers and was reflecting on that and what I wanted to be able to do or what I thought would have been supportive. So.
I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah, I think formalizing it really holds you more to, not accountable, but makes you make that time because there is the whole time crunch issue. And so just saying, oh, I haven't checked in with X person.
Well,
Yeah.
and we also talked about, leveraging the level 3 teachers that we have more. Not to say that they're not already playing informal mentoring roles. I think they just sort of naturally support other teachers, especially new teachers or someone who's asking for help. But having this mentoring plan gives us an opportunity to say, hey, as a level 3 teacher, we'd be willing to take this on and really support this new teacher.
Share list of written intervention strategies with staff.
Okay, the list exists. And it exists in the shared drive. Have staff looked at it?
No.
Probably not. That is another thing that I created and shared with Hannah and Dr. Smith, and it felt like maybe needed more feedback. It is It is a very tricky thing. I actually asked I don't know exactly what Christopher
just
Young's title is,
called
MLSS.
MLSS and gifted. I'm like, that's not
Yeah,
a title.
It's not really a title, but the person at the state level who's in charge of MLSS, I asked him for this. I was like, this is ridiculous that I'm creating this because I've done all these online Canvas courses, but it was always really broken out. Like, and I don't want to give the teachers like an entire PowerPoint of like, here's level 1 strategies and interventions. I was like, is it just a list or a graphic? And he was like, no, that doesn't exist yet. I was like, why? We've been doing this for years and we have all of these courses and all these things. So what I did is I went through all of the courses that I had done and of the handbook and materials, and I took screenshots and I pulled out stuff and I copied and pasted. So it's not polished, but I really tried to kind of parse it out and say, okay, you know, level 1 is just kind of best practices, general good pedagogy. And level 2 is then kind of what we might think of as an intervention for a student that's struggling. And level 3 is going to be more intensive, more frequent, and potentially could involve things like evaluation for special ed services or something like that. But it's all very vague in the wording that you get from the state. So I had to do a lot of creative filling out to make it more usable for teachers. Anyway, another thing I would love feedback on, especially for maybe some retired teachers who have thoughts about things. June looks away.
And then my last task for this month was to ensure that each staff member completed the end of the year checkout form. Some did. The form also needs some work. So I am working on making a better form for the end of this school year and adding the sort of, it was new and people weren't used to it. And so those teachers who always do everything they're supposed to did it, and everyone else is like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. And there's just things in there that I would like to add, you know, like things that need to happen in a classroom. You know, the Chromebooks, everyone came to me today saying, oh, I just noticed I don't have enough Chromebooks. We start on Monday. So checking all of those sort of inventories and things like that. So I did not ensure that. I don't know what you want to call that. Dr. Smith isn't here, so I feel like it could be
You're off the
honest.
hook.
I'm off the hook on that. But I do want one, and I think that by the end of next year, I'll have one that's a little more useful for everyone so that it's more task oriented, like what needs to get done? What do we need to order? What do you need to do? Those kinds of things. And there is that whole thing where we won't be in this building too long, right? And so building things all around that seems like I don't have time to waste any effort on things that won't exist long. So, all right. Thank you, Allie. You are free. You can go.
Thank you.
Think about how I can thank you for coming and doing the staff report. Yeah, she honestly had half an hour notice on that.
Ooh,
Happy to do it, and it's good to see all of you.
Same here. Thank you.
yeah.
And I will, Hannah, do you want me to email you those forms again so that you can share them with GC? And again,
I'll
I
share
really
them
do
with the
open,
GC.
I am open to
Maybe
feedback.
then I'll open it. We'll see. Depends what happens tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Email.
Bye. All right, so the director's report. We talked already about the new meeting requirements. The PED or the charter school division reminded us that we now need to live stream all of our meetings. And that will be in place in September. I did put this link huge on the website in case anyone just wanted to join the Zoom. I am recording it. And then these recordings will be housed on the website as well. Yeah, and by September, that should all be up and running pretty well. BOY stands for beginning of year. I don't know if Alex McKenzie and Sebastiano could follow half of what Ali was saying because we love acronyms in education, right? So I try to talk about those. So the beginning of the year has gone really well. We had a week of staff development. And now we have almost a week of kids being back, and we had those math trainings. We've done a lot of stuff. Yeah, any questions about the beginning of the year? The elevator is working. That is super exciting. So I'm going to talk about today. I met with Dr. Shepard today at 11, and then I had prospectors at 12. And it was like a big fancy prospectors meeting because we combined it with the Chamber of Commerce, and Howie was there. So it made it glittery.
That's why Chris was dressed up.
Yeah, everyone was.
He did the cat.
So with the facilities, I have been continuing to talk to Will Hawkins. He is publicly telling people that we
Yeah.
will move into Jose Barrios, so we can publicly tell people that.
Wow.
Our plan right now is that we will buy JB for $1. I know it sounds like a smoking deal, but there is,
How much does it?
the roof alone is 1.2 million, and it needs a new roof. But I do have the breakdown, and Will has asked that I can share it with you, but he doesn't want it digitally shared with anyone. So I can either pull it up at the end of the meeting, I could go print it out for you, but Sixth Street needs more than JV
It's
does.
still cheaper than a new building.
It's still way cheaper,
yeah.
and when we
So,
own our
that's
own
fine.
building, we will have the ability to get more money than we could
Yeah.
as leasees.
Oh, no, I think it's amazing.
It's
We
amazing.
saved our butts.
It's wonderful, for sure. And, you know, right now Maya's planning the Camp Thunderbird camp out. It's so expensive. I'm like, in 2 years, we can camp out in our yard.
Yeah,
Like, because the whole goal is to get kids used to being in a tent overnight. We can absolutely do that. We can still do other campouts here.
I'm not micromanaging. It just sounds funny.
Yeah. it'll be
Camping
good.
in the grass behind JB.
Yeah, it's great.
But could you explain why we'll have more money when we own our building?
Well, I can't.
well, you
I
probably.
don't think it's
I
true.
think we will have access to other funding streams that we didn't, because then we own our building. That also means like just being able to take out loans. We can't do that, right?
We have no
Um,
collateral, we have no.
And so
I
what's
don't
his
think we can do
name?
it even if we own it.
No, what's his name? What's his name? The bonding capacity guy.
Mark
you-
Valenzuela?
Yes, Mark feels, he said that we would have bonding capacity. You don't think so? We
I don't
can
think
look
so.
into it.
But I've been out of it, so maybe there's been a new law.
I don't know. I know that I want, since it is 2 years down the road and there is so much to do, I know I won't learn anything anytime
So-
super soon, so you're welcome to do whatever.
Well, just for everybody's edification, the reason charter schools aren't allowed to issue bonds is bonds are secured by property taxes.
Right.
Property taxes are approved by school district voters. Our school district is the entire state of New Mexico, and they're not willing to have an entire state
not gonna-
election for one charter school. So they said, forget it, charter schools can't do bonds.
Right,
So that's what I.
that
don't-
hasn't changed. I
If
don't
that
know.
hasn't changed, I don't know what Mark is talking about.
So I heard you say something about $1.2 million, and I didn't hear what. the
A
roof
new roof for Jose Barrios.
Will cost us that.
Yeah.
much. Is that gonna solve 90% of our problems? I mean, do we have asbestos removal? Do we have,
It's got a.
That's a
HVAC,
great
It's got
question.
bad boiler, it's got bad
Sorry.
HVAC.
Yeah,
that
there's
much,
a long list.
Didn't they do HVAC already?
They have
Or
done
That's what this bond is
So
piecemeal.
they've just done pieces?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just repairing it, but this bond they're trying to get now is, they're trying to. get
But
rid of
he
it.
wouldn't put
Yeah.
any money into JB if
Right.
the
No, of
bond
course not.
passes.
Yeah, no,
right?
no, but I meant, yeah, they don't, all of their schools are suffering.
Okay.
Like,
They
none of them have good HVAC.
are we gonna be able to call our school Auto Leopold Charter School?
I haven't asked about
Because I really,
that. Of course
wanna
we
go to
can, but how we keep and honor the
Jose
historical
Mr.
importance,
Barrios.
that I don't.
it's gonna be for a few.
But
Maybe the building.
I'll print up that, because he was just very specific, please don't share this digitally so it can be shared out again.
Okay.
So I'll print it for you all and you can see There's a lot on that list. It's well over $1.5 million in deferred maintenance. So is this building, I'm sure. Yeah. Every many public schools. So with that facilities conversation, with Will, that's, where we are, still a 2-year timeline. Meeting with Shepherd today. Western had not yet signed our lease, and he said he will sign it. The only point of contention is not the 2 years, but these 3 extra rooms at the end of this hall above us, which I would like for storage. He had been under the wrong impression that we wanted them for classrooms and that the classes would interfere with marketing. I'm like, no, we just want them for storage so that we have more space downstairs. And so he said, we'll see, we may end up signing the lease without those 3 rooms. That's fine. But that is moving along too. Any questions about facilities?
Yeah, is there a possibility at one of our meetings we can take a tour of JV?
That's a great question. And I think you asked it last time, and I'm sure someday we can.
Oh, I would. love to see
Right
it,
now
yeah.
it's a functioning school.
We actually asked to see both,
Yeah.
but that was your response. They both classes.
Yeah. And so maybe next summer, or something, but I can sure ask him. I will ask. And I
Maybe we could
I
do
had
it
a
on
long
Saturday,
Right,
list.
not everyone.
So they're gonna be in the school another 2 years.
Yes.
We're gonna need time to get that school up to date. Like, we need more than 2 years here. Because it's gonna take at least
I
a
think we're
year.
lucky to have 2. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. When we move in, all the work won't be done. I mean,
They probably won't even start it. We can't start it with the other kids there, right?
right.
So, I mean, we need,
It is-
unless it's
yeah.
workable. And
I
we
think
can-
it's workable. I mean, there's
okay,
kids in there
Unless we can be in
today.
there while they're doing the roof, then that's another thing.
Yeah, that I don't
But
know.
if
Would
we
that
gotta do
be?
asbestos,
We also need the 1.2 million to pay for a new roof. So
True.
I mean, moving in, I picture us moving in and then working to fix the priorities in summers or in breaks. I mean, a roof isn't a break project. That's a
so
summer
you wanna take
project.
it as is and
Yeah.
then we work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I was under assumption. they
I would
leave,
love
we
to
would
have
fix
it all
and then we
fixed
go
up,
in.
but yeah,
That's not how it's
I
gonna work. Okay.
I don't see that being very
Uh,
feasible.
I think we talked about that last meeting too.
I wasn't
That
here last
was,
meeting.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
That's basically not. an
But
option.
doesn't PED or
Sounds like, right?
or the charter, won't they wanna see the building and make sure it's okay? Don't they
Yeah,
expect it?
so there's the Public School Facility Authority. They have to okay a place. There is also the PSCOC, which is the Public School
Capital Outlay Council.
Capital Outlay Council. And we're not asking for capital outlay for that, but we will when we need to make all of
You
that.
think they would be like, okay, you can move in even before it started working on it?
Who knows?
And there's
I
the
don't-
PEC.
Yeah.
We would have to do
Oh,
a charter school
absolutely.
amendment.
Yes.
The PEC would have to
Right.
approve an amendment to a charter.
Yes. yes.
What's the capacity of the school?
I was gonna say something. What's the-
That is, let me see, I can project this. Let me see if I can find the
What?
email, because it is
I was
interesting.
guessing.
I've never
Yeah,
been
I-
there, so.
I'm guessing 400.
Oh, it's more than that.
Could we
Really?
increase our enrollment because of it, or we're just gonna enjoy the space?
That's a
We
great
would have to
question.
get an amendment.
Amendment, but
Right,
that's not
because
hard,
it's in our charter.
right?
Yeah.
Amending your charter is not, compared to a lot of things, the most challenging thing on earth. It does require work.
That's a deeply philosophical question about it.
Yes, it is. But
It's not
here,
just a matter of, let's raise some more money.
It's
because
also,
it'll change the character of your school.
Yeah,
it's all discussion. If we increase our capacity and if we fill with students who came from Silver,
that would start something.
we potentially reduce Silver's enrollment.
Yeah.
Which A, isn't great diplomatically, but B, could be amazing financially. Because if they go below 2,000,
They
all
get
of a
their
sudden
CG.
we qualify for about 750,000 to 800,000 more a year,
Which is what we lost before,
which
right?
is what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huge amount of money.
In fact, I was thinking that when we were talking about tower,
we have bonding capacity, I was thinking, well, and then potentially we'll have more students. We
Yeah,
will
but
be-
everybody would
maybe
have
there'll
to
be more
approve it. And
Cash flow for the school.
I don't see a bond ever because with 200 kids, the whole county or the whole school district, nobody's gonna say yeah, because none of the kids go.
I don't think a bond, no,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
not
what
gonna
Mark
work.
said. I
Yeah.
think a bond is absolutely
I
100%
think
impossible.
a bond is
Alone-
impossible.
Yeah,
A
loans,
loan,
yeah.
maybe.
A loan, yes.
Typically, charter schools have used their foundations to get loans because foundations are private entities, not public entities, and they can do that. If the law has changed and we can get a loan, then we would all of a sudden have collateral, maybe, if that has net value.
Would we own the land too?
Yes. So I can download this and make it bigger.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see this. Go.
It's a good, I mean, it's a nice structure, really.
Mhm.
It's a good
Only thing I really liked about the Second Street is that I didn't like, or whatever, Sixth Street. I don't like the idea of this big building just being empty in the middle of a really nice neighborhood.
I think it'll be fun.
I think
You
it'll
think-
be fine. I
I've
think
heard
there
lots of
might
people talking
be
about it.
some
Oh,
other
good.
entities
good,
interested
good.
They
in.
also really want to move in.
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
or like
Oh, you mean make it into
having
like
a school.
living space?
I haven't heard that. There might be.
A squad.
Yeah.
See,
I
we don't want
cannot
that. We don't need another Elks building.
Find a way to make this bigger right this minute. So this is as big as it can get. I will print it for you. So we have, these are capital needs by priority. So these are priority one. We have 7.2 million in just priority one
Yeah.
needs. So La Plata needs a roof, Silver High needs a roof, so Sixth Street needs a roof, and they estimate that at 1.5. They need a fire alarm at 171,000, and emergency lighting at 19, and this is just priority one. I have another slide in a second. Jose Barrios, the emergency lighting for 3,000.
So they don't even
So
mention
he
roof.
does not put the roof as priority one for JB,
Nice.
because apparently it sort of functions, right?
Well,
That's my
that's good news.
assumption.
That's great.
These are priority two needs. And then, so you can see the list for Harrison Schmidt, which is really long. This is why he needs his bond, just saying in case you haven't voted yet. JV, then we have. Let's see on there.
Can you try Control Plus to make that bigger? Will that work? I don't know if that, is that a? that's
We're
an
at
accurate
11.
piece of-
That, I don't think that will work, but I'll try it.
Nothing. Look
Oh,
at that.
look at that, but it just gets all fuzzy because it's a
Yeah.
It's
snip.
still way more legible.
Okay. And
Nicely
so
done.
again, it's the heating and cooling system. And again, alarms. And the heating and cooling is a mess there. It's sweltering, it's freezing, but that is still $200,000.
That's some kind of ventilation, the third one.
It
You
does
got
say
vent?
vent system, vent system.
But
For
this is an
another,
elementary school, so it's not a lab.
I'm not sure what that is. I don't know.
Foundation.
So
vent-
these go
Well, if it's got a
down.
boiler, it needs a lot of
to-
venting
venting.
just in the lines,
I bet that's what it is.
Yeah,
especially if it's steam.
two other ones. And in one of the lower priorities is the roof at JV. So eventually
is
it
hardening.
needs a new roof, but it doesn't need it before we move in.
It's a really, really heartening report.
Yeah,
When we could actually afford the things that are listed.
yeah.
But you saw that Sixth Street priority one was $1.5 million. So. That's, I mean, there's a bunch of other
don't need to tour
reasons
6th
that
Street
you don't need to
Yeah,
now, you're
Jose
okay.
Barrios is
I've
fine.
been scared
Yeah, yeah,
off.
Yeah,
Because I want JP. I mean, I want, because I think that it's the best thing for the
The
students
culture of the school.
overall, and for pickup and drop off, and for security, and for not having high schoolers ditch out and go downtown. And I mean, there are so many things.
You said they'll go under the bridge.
And then it's
Whatever.
close to the nature trail. I mean, it's so
It's-
much. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
the same.
waterworks, yeah, everything.
And is this the last year that students will be in Pusaganios or?
I don't know that, and Will doesn't know
I
that.
bet you it
And
takes
that's,
longer.
it's gonna be really hard for him, and he knows that. I think his ideal would be to consolidate as soon as possible, because he is spending tons of money on these patchwork fixes all over when he really needs to focus dedicated time and energy into making the buildings that he does have great, all of that. But he's very conscious of his employees and not wanting to have to reduce any force, and hoping that through attrition and moving people around that he can balance things. He is getting beaten up on Facebook right now for the bond, and I am hopeful that it passes, but I don't know what will happen.
Would
One
that
of the
affect the
arguments, one of the most common arguments I see is that Cliff schools do so well academically, why do they need a good building? Like you're gonna punish these kids for working hard
The
and doing a good
trolls.
job.
People will come up with anything not to have to pay another few hundred.
Right.
It's just
That's it,
shocking.
That's it.
Yeah.
I
I bet
don't
he
see it as a threat myself. I was worried at first, but just by looking at Facebook, I've seen a lot more positive.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Well, looking
Hopefully
at
that's right.
Facebook this morning made me go, I have to get my ballot and do it right this second, which I hadn't done yet, and Justin did his.
Oh, I did it the second.
Yeah.
No.
I
It has
just-
to pass.
Yeah, it has to. I hope so for him and for us. If you read it, you'll see we are included in the mill levy, not the bond. And I don't know how much that will be. Do you?
The mill levy?
Yeah,
You mean how much money?
we.
We're getting it now.
Oh,
It will
no,
be a continuation of
I
what we get
continue
now.
with what we are.
And I think we're up to something like 80,000 a year now for
Yeah.
SB two.
Okay,
And then we get another 70 something, 60 something for HB 33.
for 33.
So those two will continue to get, and we can use those
For
for
the new
the list that's up there.
Yeah,
But that's not
absolutely.
new money. We've been getting it.
It's continuation.
And we
Okay.
will lose the lease reimbursement,
Right.
which is why I'm not sure it'll work that we could have more access to money.
Well, there's gotta be
But
money
the lease
available.
reimbursement doesn't go to us. It's not like that's money
Right.
that we're not, that goes to Western.
Fair enough, but Western pays for things here that
Yes.
we will have to be paying.
Oh,
for there.
absolutely. The technology infrastructure is the biggest one, and running my own network is daunting. So,
Well, We'll see what
um,
utilities are like. That might be.
and
big too.
utilities and grounds, because we'll have grounds.
Yep, there's a lot of
There's a
costs.
lot, but we'll also have a kitchen.
Oh, wow.
It has a whole host of new challenges that are different than the challenges here. And in my naive positivity,
We're gonna go
those
from
sound
not enough
preferable to me.
to much
Does
less.
does it have a real common area, like a small theater?
Mm.
or-
It has a gym with, like pull-out bleachers where they have those kinds of things. It does have a library too, which is
Wow.
bigger than this room. So
It's
for
nice, yeah.
us, the library is a really nice meeting room. The weird thing about it is it's in the center of the school, so it has no windows. And I always found it kind of dark, but it's a cool space. It's a nice space. And the gym has like this little mini climbing wall. It's cute.
Yeah.
For very tiny people, the sixth graders can do it.
And then it's the same space they use for meal, for lunch there. They take out all the tables, they do it
Yeah.
in the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the multi-purpose room.
We used to do that in Columbus.
We just
Yeah.
on the lawn.
Any
it's
other
really big,
facility
it's really big. We had a
questions?
kitchen.
or-
Thanks for all the information.
I will say that so the meeting with Shepherd was very positive, in that he's gonna sign the lease, and I hadn't had any assurances in a few months about that, so that was great. And maybe we'll get those rooms, that'll be great. We have dealt with our overflow issues for right now. But certainly we have outgrown this building, and he would love for us to be out sooner if we can be.
What-
Yeah,
Really?
What are you,
Yeah. Shepherd.
what are you doing with Melissa's office?
It's Kathy Madrid's office
What
now.
are you doing with Kathy's?
It's Avery's office because he doesn't have a classroom.
Got it.
So he has a place to
There's
put his
another room, yeah.
backpack. All right, so those were my meetings today. No, this one. And so hires, I already sort of talked about Pat Avalos, who is our third special education teacher now and just brings a wealth of experience. We also hired Joshua Rex in 6th grade, who comes to us from Montessori. And it's going great down there. And both Ally and I are hyper conscious of how we kind of chewed through some 6th grade teachers last year and making sure that he and all the new teachers have the support and everything that they need. So I've been down there. Ally has, Fiona is stepping back from some of the Title I reading she's been doing and is also doing push-in for math assistants and other push-in because she's finishing the cohort of reading kids she started last year, this year, and not taking on a new cohort.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the new business director, is she keeping track of the budget, that we're not going over budget? Because that's. our biggest
I will
problem.
talk about, yes, I mean, I
That's the
think
next
that her
item.
It's the
report,
next item,
it is
okay.
the next item.
Okay,
So I'm
I'm
gonna keep
sorry,
going
yeah.
on hires.
Are there 2 sections of 6th grade?
We did not expand to 2 sections. So we still just
You still
have
got-
1 section of 6th grade. I would have liked to have balanced it the way 7th and 8th are and have a STEM and humanities. We just don't have the space. And we don't, the cap in middle school is 90. So I would have to, and that is in the charter contract, I would have to amend it. We're about to renew. If we want to expand middle school, I can negotiate that in the contract after our.
So we have really big classes in
Oh my
7th and 8th. I
gosh.
was thinking, I thought it was 30, 30, and 30 to get your 90. It's not.
And
It's
there's
like
only
20 and-
18, I capped 6 that this year, because last year it was 20 and it was too many. So there are 18 6th graders and there are 36, I believe, 8th graders and 36. Is that right? Does that add up?
It's a good problem to have.
It is, but it
Challenge.
is a
Little bit.
challenge and doing field experiences with so many kids and kids who have not built that stamina or experience yet is a whole other challenge and a risk management challenge too. Yeah. So other new hires, Julia Stevenson is our new 7th grade math and science teacher. She comes to us. She taught in Deming, both middle and elementary, and she's great. I'm really excited about her. We have really strong candidates for that. We had 3 people who applied, who all of them were like, wow, they're really good. And the committee chose her for a bunch of different reasons, but they were all great. And she's doing a good job, but she's like, I need planning time. I am overwhelmed. This is a lot. Coming from a traditional school into Aldo, working on a bridge for new hires is something I.
Are we still
work on.
doing a late start on Wednesdays?
We're not. So 2 things there. One, the calendar at first, before the lawsuit from all the other districts, didn't allow for it. We had to have a certain number of seat time hours as well as days. So I left it off the official calendar. Then the 52 districts who sued PED won. And I am adding, so instead of late start, because the feedback from teachers was that made for a crazy long day, because they'd already done like meetings or professional development and then start teaching for the rest of the day. So I'm flipping it and we're gonna do an early release most months on one day. It is not on the, it is on the calendar by month, you can see them, but it is not on the calendar that I sent to the state, though I am updating that calendar and they will be there. So our first early release day is August 21st. We may not do one in September. We run 2 backpacking trips in September, and on the off weeks, we have the 2 middle school overnight camping trips. And
It's busy.
yeah, it's a busy month and nobody wants to sit in a meeting during that month. And so what I had wanted to do with September's was to bring Will Tracy in to talk about something called conditional outdoor leadership theory, which is all about gauging everything around you, your environment, the weather, along with those more subjective and both subjective and objective risks, like, okay, these kids have a lot of experience or none. And then letting go of your leadership to student leadership based on this sort of sliding scale of objective and subjective risk and need. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, you guys can totally take care of dinner. Oh, now there's thunder and we have to do something else. Now I take control. And it's all about that. It's really great. And I'm still learning about it. I thought it would be we had a bunch of staff do down here the summer workshop. It was a 2-night, 3-day backpacking trip in the Gila just for staff that Will led. And the feedback from it was phenomenal. Everyone from people who have never led backpacking to Orion and Nate and just like, this was great. I feel so much more confident and competent and prepared. And so a lot of that has to do with that conditional outdoor leadership theory and really explicitly teaching how to teach in the field, because it is different than a classroom, though similar, and finding those ways that it's different. So other new hires, we have a new business manager, which is on our agenda because I didn't know I had to get that approved by the governing council. Hopefully you will, since we have paid for her and hired her and she is doing that work.
You have to get the contract approved because of its size? Or you
No, it
have to
says
approve an actual business manager?
you have to approve the hiring of a business
I forgot
manager.
that.
To me, it didn't make sense. And I argued with him. I
Mhm.
said, that's not the governing council. They don't hire anyone but
Right.
me. Why would they approve that? This
Because
is
we
who
have
I
to approve
hired.
Good question.
And they said, we need those minutes that show that they approved it.
Interesting.
So they didn't address my question. They just said it has to be on file. So I don't know, because we didn't meet in July, we had found a woman named Deanna Mooney, and she was great, but when I got her proposal, it was exorbitant, well in excess of what I make in a year. And I felt like that was too much. I asked her some ideas and she felt that. She's like, this is the only way I can do it. So she directed me to the V Hill group, and Melissa retired June 30th. June 28th, I met with them and felt like I didn't have a whole lot of choices, but they also impressed me with their competence, and they're really responsive. Whenever I reach out to Justine, she's there. But they do not do all of the things that Melissa did. They do not take care of contracts and human resources, which Melissa did. They are not certified procurement officers, which you must have in a school. And Melissa was, and she maintained her CPO certification. So.
Maybe Pat at Bolos has.
Hey, are you a CPO, Pat? No,
No.
That's probably the only thing he
Different skill
doesn't.
set.
It is a
Okay.
different skill set. So I am still, the CPO training is a week long and a full week, and it costs $10,000, and your CPO must be employed by the school. You cannot contract out CPO work. So either I am going to have, Andrea has offered that she will do the CPO training and she will be our CPO, or I will find someone that I hire at the school for 10 hours a month who is a CPO or willing to get that certification. The state only offers this certification a few times a year. The next one is in October. And so we don't have one right now. And it will be a finding on our audit, which we're going to. There is
Kathy
one
would
last
do it.
Kathy Madrid isn't a CPO. She, even if she
You have to
wanted
be
to
one
do
to
it
get
again,
certified.
she can't get certified till October. She said she would do it if she has to. She would prefer not to. She also feels like it's best practice to not have somebody who is like doing a lot of business management stuff be the CPO that's splitting those
Melissa
duties.
was it.
Melissa got dinged every year. They're like, we would prefer that the
Gotcha.
CPO wasn't you. We're a small school. Did they say that to you when you
Never.
were CPO?
No, the key was that you weren't.
That I was.
That's all that mattered.
Okay, weird.
And Melissa will not be an option for this, right?
No, she doesn't.
No, that's really weird that they were dinging her for that. It's incredibly common for a charter school business manager.
And that's
To
what
be the
they're like, we
CPO.
see this, but it's not best practice.
Okay, we don't get dinged for not doing best practice, you get dinged for doing wrong things.
Right.
They
Yeah.
shouldn't be dinging us for adequate practice.
Yeah.
I agree
Really,
with
they
that.
shouldn't be.
Well, and I don't know, when she said dinged, was it a finding? I don't know that it was.
I don't think it
I
was.
don't think it was.
I don't
So
remember seeing it, or I would have reacted.
I keep, yeah, that's, I don't know. So that's where we are with that, the new business manager. So last week during all of that training, I learned a whole lot about contracts. And that was a nightmare because there were problems with the old contracts.
Oh, you mean personnel contract?
Yes, personnel contracts, writing contracts for staff, because there is no HR. I am now the HR person. And that is too much for me. I can't do all that. But I got the contracts done because they had to be in last Wednesday to get people paid and to work on our budget. The new special ed director is also remote, and that creates a lot of work for me as well. Dealing with ancillary staff and sped people here.
Is that
Pat-
temporary?
It's for this year. We have hired her for this year. I am going to start advertising for both the business manager and the sped director, like certainly by December. Having remote, and honestly, if I found someone who kind of did Kathy's job with HR, I think that could be really workable. Kathy right now can only work 20 hours a week. She's not willing to work more. After April, she will be willing to work more. It's a retirement thing. And getting all of her social security, I believe. So that I think and so far I've really enjoyed working with Justine. And I enjoy Michelle, our sped director is great, but there's so much you can't do when you're not on site that I now have to do. Pat is now here. I'm hoping I can give him a lot of that, but it has been just amazingly challenging, to say the least. Yeah. Okay. Any questions about that? There are no other new.
Alex had a question about the
I
budget.
did, but when she said she's gonna put out ads for a budget director, that kind of negates everything else.
Oh,
Knowing that it's a temporary situation.
Yeah.
hoping
It's
it
a
is.
stopgap.
Hoping it is,
Yeah,
and if it's
so-
not, yeah, hiring a HR person along with, I'm not sure. And part of my meeting with Justine next week is just where we're at with hiring, and budget and everything, because the contracts just went in last Wednesday. Now she has all of that. So we're just in process of building everything and figuring it all out, and what we can afford and what we can't. So I'll know more about that. But I do feel like we haven't optimized all of the funding streams for some staff, and some staff, and it's a long, complex conversation, but I'm hoping that it frees up some money for someone to help with HR. We'll see. Along with that, Antoinette, she's one of our aides. Whoops. Oh no, it's gonna get you both true.
I'm already
That's the
triggered.
last. Antoinette is one of our aides, and I got her into this program called the Ed Fellow Program. And so the state is paying her entire salary plus more. So we received from them $40,000 to cover her salary, substitute salary, a stipend for her, a stipend for a mentor, $2,000 in materials. And so that is super exciting, but now she's no longer an aide. She is an Ed Fellow. And so she can push in and help do one-on-one help with kids. She can still help with CO, but she can't be a dedicated aide in a classroom so that she has time to work on college because she wants to become a teacher. And so this program is to help those people who already work within education finish their education to become teachers, to work on New Mexico's teacher shortage in a way that's like a grow your own thing. So I'm super excited that she was accepted, and super excited to see how to best maximize that.
So did you mention the fact that she's not an EA to say that that gives us a ratio problem in some areas?
It doesn't.
Okay, good.
No, just that it changes. I would like to hire now a dedicated EA, but I don't know if I can. That's my conversation with Justine.
Yeah.
I would say you almost always can hire an EA.
Yeah.
It's just not that expensive.
Right.
But that, none of that,
And-
that $40,000 is, like, we've got the money we would have paid.
Exactly.
Right.
Antoinette.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
So
would,
that-
I would go
So
ahead
to
and do
me,
that.
but because I made other staffing changes, right, I have added staff because I moved Maya into a full-time experiential ed coordinator position at a teacher's salary, and she is a highly paid teacher. She is a level 3. And so that opened up 7th grade, and so it really is like adding a whole teacher, which is a whole lot of money. And that's what I need to sit and really dig into with Justine. We're also at capacity. That brings in money, but then, the money goes out. And so that's the whole conversation.
What
and-
level is the new 7th grade teacher?
She's a level.
Level 1?
Yes. Both our new teachers in the middle school are level 1.
Did she move here from Deming or is she commuting?
She actually, that's when we saw her application, I'm like, oh, that's a bad commute. She lives in Hurley.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So it's a
so-
less of a commute.
yeah, less of a
Oh,
commute.
that's
for her.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And she didn't grow up here, but yeah, she's great. Hopefully, her and Joshua will come and present sometime, and I'll get to it.
Can I ask you a question that's sort of geared towards charter renewal? Or any of our new hires, do they identify as Latina or Latino?
Not one. Is that correct?
But we still represent our
We
area.
do still
so
represent our area.
demographically.
And I will say, I think that certainly the staff demographic. Oh, that's not true, Pat.
You're right,
Yeah.
Pat Alice.
Yeah.
Of course.
So the staff, because one of the things Will Tracy had us do, like a team building thing, was like line up from those of you who have been here the longest to the shortest. And all of us at the short end line was a more diverse group than at the.
Can we
than
count
long.
Justine Behe?
Sure, I say yes. Remember, we're being recorded.
Yeah, she's a
I'm the only one who listens
consultant.
to the recordings.
All right, so any other questions about new hires?
Thanks, I'm glad you
Yeah.
had some really exciting new personnel.
That-
That's
it's
very
awesome.
Yeah,
important. That's
I-
how you keep
Great.
the school going.
It is, and they're really dedicated, really, each one brings a whole set of skills, like always, but I really feel great about the skills that we brought in this year, really happy about it. So the grading conversation. Perry's aware of this because Jennifer came to policy, the middle school, so in the handbook, our policy is the school's grading scale is not a traditional grading scale. We have A, B, and C, and then anything below a 70 is failing. There are no Ds. And I feel that when the school was founded, this was to encourage rigor and high expectations and high performance. Teachers have found that it inhibits their ability to have the conversation that grading can be. And the conversation with the D is, hey, you are almost failing, you need to get it together. And what has happened, and teachers have come to tell me this has happened, and I can share their comments with you because I sent out a survey about it, and that there will be kids who are doing fine, they have a C, it's towards the end of the semester, and suddenly they tank and they fail. And that doesn't allow for. Also, and I will say what I see is that Power School, right? If parents have Power School on their phone, if they set the notifications, they're notified constantly, right? Like, oh, your kid has an F, oh, this and that. And so then parents are freaking out. They're like, he is failing. I thought he was doing fine. We just had whatever. We just did this. And so I polled the staff.
It's Power School. I don't have it.
Power School? It's the, I can.
Yeah, but we don't do grades.
Oh, like
Yeah.
the parent square thing?
No.
Parent Square is the communication app. Power School is the app where all of the grades are.
Never used it.
Okay, we should get
I've
you
been on the
that.
website where you log into the kid and you see,
Oh,
but
okay,
I didn't know
that's
there
it.
was an app.
Oh, there is an app. You can
Okay,
do it
I
on a
had no idea.
computer or on your phone.
Yeah, not seen
And a
it.
lot of people have it on their phone, and a lot of parents who are very tuned into grades watch it all the
I
time.
had no
And
idea.
grades don't work that way, right? Like somebody will
Power
sit down
School.
and put in a bunch of grades or don't, and anyway, grades should be feedback. They should be a conversation. They should be, hey, let's try harder. Hey, great job. Hey, that's not enough. The teachers, when polled,
These are teacher
70%.
responses.
These are
no
teacher
parent, no
responses.
student
No,
responses.
no, these are teacher responses. And I have everyone. I got 20 responses. So 70% of teachers would like to switch to a traditional scale. I had told middle school, well, why don't you just do it? But then I thought, no, it's in our policy handbook. We would have to change the policy. I think it's the beginning of a conversation. I think the conversation needs to be had with the governing council and students. I think that what does happen is that grades get inflated to help kids pass instead of having like that 61, which says, or 60, hey man, you barely passed. Now, Western has Ds, but they don't give credit for them. I think that's another option. Like, okay, there's a D on there, but we're not going to give you credit for it. You're going to redo that class. I don't know. I think there's a lot to it. And I think that grades aren't equitable. Personally, that's my philosophy. I don't think that growth means that only half of this scale is acceptable. Not even half, right? 60% of it, and the rest of it is failure. I don't think that that's a conversation that encourages feedback and growth, and I think that that should be our goal as educators. So it's really a deep and complex conversation. Any comments?
I think you should,
Do
I
like the
agree with the
teachers.
70%. Because they might be a really high D. They might just need just 2 or 3 points, but instead, the way it is now, you have
No credits.
no, yeah.
And I will say a lot of teachers, if it is a very high D, will work with a kid, but then it gets bumped to a C. And is this really a real reflection of the student's abilities? Is it a conversation? Go ahead, I don't know.
I disagree with this, but I believe that teachers should be deciding. this.
And
Are we
that's
supporting
another, yeah,
teachers?
that's great.
I think a teacher recalibrates the grading scale. I work my ass off to get a kid up to 70.
Absolutely.
I'd work my ass off to get a kid up to 60, which I know I'm being
That-
bored, sorry about that. But
Yeah,
I feel like it's utterly arbitrary.
It's totally
I agree
arbitrary.
completely.
That's what I think. And so if teachers feel like that gives them more power to have a conversation, and those were some of the best
So
comments that, I'm just gonna find the
I didn't
comments.
see anything in those things you just said. Nothing is different when you add a D. You still have the conversation when all you have is a C. I had conversations with kids all the time who had a 70, 71. You're so close to failing. You can still use it as a conversation. I really don't think that's different. The jiggering with the grade to get you into passing, that will happen if you add Ds. That will not go away.
No.
People
But
who have
it's a D.
59s will all of a sudden have 60s.
But it's a D.
That will happen. So but it's no better. In fact, it's worse. If you jigger a grade to pass somebody,
But
to
is
get
it
them to 60.
reflective for a college?
so I thought you wanted
I know.
okay.
Go ahead.
So none of those things, the parents getting shocked at the last bit, that also happens with Ds. Kids will calibrate to what you expect. And if what you expect is a 60, some of the kids are going to calibrate to a 60. If what you expect is a 70, some of the kids will manage to calibrate to a 70.
And I
And
see all of
that's the
that.
goal of having it as a 70. If you want to offer a D without giving credit, I would have zero problems with that.
Yeah.
No problem at all. That would maintain the integrity I think that we're trying to establish. And perhaps give teachers some ability to talk with students and parents that apparently they feel they don't have. The only argument that I am swayed by is the 70% of the 20 teachers want this. I don't understand it. And so I wouldn't mind seeing some of their comments to help me.
That's why,
Understand.
yeah. So let's look at some of them. It feels like students get inflated grades in order to pass is one comment.
Which doesn't go, that'll still happen.
I believe that some students, especially special education students, need that step above failing that gets them graduated. Perhaps high school was very difficult for them for whatever their reasons, but they are perfectly functional in the adult workforce. For some students, the D means they have enough credits to graduate on time instead of dropping out. Using a traditional scale that includes Ds would be more indicative of a student's progress and would more clearly communicate the student's standing to them and their family. I feel students meet higher standards when expectations are consistent. Rigor in this context means that an average student is meeting expectations that are set at a level of acceptance. A D is not a positive thing. Setting the bar lower means students with less motivation will be comfortable at a lower standard. Ds don't always pass in college either. It would be setting a lower precedent. This, I feel, can be clearly expressed with families and students regularly. I've had many conversations with students where they are asked why, because it makes things harder. This leads me to believe students would be comfortable with Ds.
It's my most
Right.
persuasive paragraph.
So, exactly,
Yeah.
which is
and-
on the side. that
It is on
we're
the
arguing.
side of
Yeah.
keep it as it is. I feel that the higher standard, though challenging, sets a tone of expectation of rigor and academic excellence. Teachers work diligently with students to help them over the bar via SOS, etc. Students who do fail usually fail with a grade under 60. If they're in the 60s, the student cares at all. Teachers support them across the threshold. Clear expectations of rigor at ACLS are important. This scale is simple and clear. We shouldn't change too much. Also, if Ds are considered failing anyway, there's no point to them. Well, that person doesn't know something.
Well, that,
They're
No, I think-
responding to you not getting credit. I think.
Right.
I
Yeah.
see.
That's what I think. of it.
that's my interpretation.
I would like to include the D in the grading scale because it gives me as a teacher more precise language to use to communicate with the student and their family about the student's graded work. Including a D in the grading scale would give a more accurate and nuanced picture of student performance that is at the lower end of the grading scale. Only having a C, average, or an F failing to earn or apply leaves out what could be a more exact representation of how the
That
student
was
is
fine
doing.
as a
Can I ask
parent's
a parent?
argument.
A parent square question, a parent was a Power School.
Uh-huh,
Doesn't Power School show a number?
Yes.
yes,
It doesn't just show ABCF.
right. It gives a
Well, it
percentage.
doesn't get any more precise than, the precision's already there. It shows 65.
I don't have strong feelings about it, but I think our grading system tends to be inflated and a more traditional grading system would be more accurate. In my experience, having a D grade is a clear signal for the student to take a look at their study habits or seek additional academic support to prevent similar outcomes in future courses. It seems too final, abrupt, and harsh to go from a C to an F. It confuses me as to why it was implemented in the first place or what the logic was. Having 3 levels of passing grades, A, B, and C, and then 1 failing seems unbalanced, unfair, and a cloudy representation of the student's time in a particular class. And
It's in the charter.
So
the explanation.
unpersuasive to me.
I am in favor of keeping the scale the way it is because based on what I learned in my studies, I tend to lean more towards favoring a mastery type
Yes.
scale, which in my mind doesn't include Ds. Maybe I will feel differently when I have more experience. But also, honestly, I don't know how much grading scales even matter. I feel like the students will learn the same amount. Grading scales are arbitrary and changing them will just complicate things. And can still hold rigor and conversation and work with students towards C while having that larger vocabulary that Jennifer was talking about. So those are the comments. The comments are pretty split. The votes aren't. And I am with Jim 100% that it is what do teachers need? What do they want? I told the middle school yesterday, it's just going to be ongoing. We're not changing it this year. It's a deep conversation. My personal opinion are that grades are arbitrary and I don't like grades. And I think that teachers would hate this even more, like a really comment-based, like pass, fail, and here's your comments and
Good.
here's your portfolio. I think that that's more, but that's my
I
personal
would support that.
philosophy.
It's incredibly time consuming. I gave
Incredibly.
grades and wrote comments for all my students. I
Yeah.
had 60 students instead of 120, but
Mhm.
it's very.
Very
time-consuming.
Yes.
And you can't just write BS. You've
No.
got to look at what you wrote last time.
Right,
And, I
right.
mean,
No, it's
that's another
incredibly
discussion.
time consuming.
Was this sort of posed and then people answered in writing, or was this the result of
Here's,
the discussion?
so
Because
it
the
was,
discussion-
I brought it up, I said, the middle school, and it's not just, the whole middle school is like, I wish we had Ds. So I put this from the policy, from our student handbook, and told them, please see the grading scale above. I introduced the topic. Do you want to keep the grading policy as is, or would you prefer a traditional scale that includes Ds? That was it, and then I left the space for comments.
But you guys are founders, right?
Yes.
I-
It's not, okay. Of course, you're gonna be against it. I mean, you wrote it, it's, yeah.
No, I've taught under a number of grading scales and systems, and I like the number one persuasive, well, besides the arbitrariness, which
Right.
is built into any grading system.
It is.
I like the idea of mastery, and I think
I
that
agree.
was, I can't quote you chapter and verse what the charter said, but I read that before I took the job here. I mean, somebody slapped. it on
And
me.
I agree, I understand, and I don't disagree. I don't know where any of, what I will say is when the school was founded, we did not have 45% special
Exactly,
education.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, there's too
And
many special
that is,
There's not too many to change the grading scale. They can and still do receive accommodations to get them to a passing
Absolutely.
grade,
absolutely,
whatever that arbitrary grade is.
whatever that arbitrary.
Yeah, but not
is.
mastery. You can't have this
fine.
45% of kids mastering.
But
the
that
curriculum.
argument that we should have a D because of special ed students, I don't think holds water.
I'm just saying,
But it doesn't-
things change
it doesn't
and
lower standards.
ideas. It's one piece of a very big puzzle that I think is worth mentioning.
And this is not, I love my colleagues. I still consider them my colleagues, but one thing that got people's butt in the trap, they would wait till the end of the term to enter grades. And all of a sudden, the kid had been having these, 85% classroom participation.
Right.
Then there's the
It's a
test,
test.
and then the kid has a 45, and the parents say, I didn't know about it. It's like, what, you should be giving quizzes all along. There should be summative
And that's the
as well
piece
as-
where it really should be a conversation
Yes.
and it's not, it doesn't end up being that, right? And that's again, sort of aspirational. Because the reality of teaching is those poor teachers who do that at the last minute aren't just sitting around, lazing
No.
about until the last day. They are busy, they are working, they haven't found, it takes years to be that teacher who can always give the amazing feedback, right? It does, and they need support to get there. That's also like a leadership question, right? Like, how do I help figure out how to support that? That's another challenge for me. I don't know. I feel like we're done with this question.
You got some
So
feedback.
it is an ongoing conversation in the school. And I am not gonna change the policy handbook this year at all. I think it's a year-long conversation. I do think stakeholders like parents also probably should be involved. And I think that students' voices as well as teachers are the most important, not mine. And I can get down a rabbit hole with my sort of philosophical beliefs around all of it, but we all live in reality and we need to.
This isn't the hill I would die on.
Yeah. All right, grading conversation summer workshop, I talked about that. Bond and mill levy, we are part of the mill levy continuation. You all got your ballots. And with the renewal, we're busy with it. I'm on it. There are so many portals for the public education department. And so they had this awesome idea to make a new portal where we're gonna upload everything for the renewal. And it is called Epicenter. And
Epicenter.
I know, isn't that grand?
Wow,
Um,
sounds like an earthquake.
I was gonna say, that's not a very positive name.
I have my Epicenter training on Monday, and Ally will be joining me, so we will both know how to upload all of our documentation into Epicenter. I did receive our initial preliminary Part A report. There are parts A through F required for renewal, and the Public Charter School Division, CSD, creates this report based on site visits and data. And there are errors that I have shared with them. And so we're in that process of maybe revising the report. I don't know. They're like, thank you, we got that. So
Who do you deal with for that?
it just says Charter School Division. I don't know what human I'm actually talking to. It just says CSD.
Wow.
And nobody signed, so I have no idea. But someone answers my emails and I don't know who they are.
Probably done.
And then
It's AI.
there is, it's probably
There's no name.
AI. So all of my portals, I was gonna show you, but it's getting late. Another night I will show you. I think I'm up to 15 portals that I log into to create reports for the state. And I'm trying to track, just because I really feel like my time could be better spent in classrooms, supporting my new teachers, going out to Backpack Base Camp. And instead, I am uploading things to portals constantly. We have our Dash plan, we have the 90-day plan, we have now Epicenter, we have all of the grants management sites that are both federal and state grants. And 2 weeks ago, I got this like upset email like, oh my gosh, you're gonna lose $60,000 if you don't fix this thing in the grant portal. Like, is it federal or state? And I don't have access, and you're giving me an hour and a half to fix it. And it happened 3 times in a row while I was writing contracts and interfacing with the new SPED director. So I find it all burdensome and excessive. Yeah, but another day I will share all my portals with you. Another piece of good news. Will Tracy, who you all know, I signed a contract with him to continue to work with us. He ran some of our PD. It was great. Really positive feedback from staff about him. He is also in the Educational Leadership Master's program at Western, and he is doing his practicum with me. So he's
Oh,
going to
really?
shadow me all day on Monday. It's going to be great.
That's a good idea.
And yeah, so that's cool. He'll be in the school even more because he needs hours with me now.
You don't have to be a veteran apparently for them to shadow you.
No,
You can be a first year.
yeah, this is just so that they can understand what the job looks like.
Cool.
And I think that this is a good, I'm like, wow, I would love someone to validate how crazy my days are. Can you really get GoPro for this?
Yeah, right.
But
That's awesome.
yeah, it'll be great. It'll be really nice to have his calm demeanor there with me, and his insight is great. He's, you know, a really insightful guy, and I appreciate his feedback, and I'm happy to help him get through that class too. So, any questions on my report?
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
Definitely.
appreciate the discussion.
It's a big couple of years.
Yeah, I know, huh? Yeah. And did I tell, so we do have our renewal hearing set for December 12th. I don't know if I shared that with everyone. Sorry. The renewal hearing will be December 12th.
Who has to be there?
I have to be there. The GC president should be there. I will bring students, and I'd love parents to come. I think that, you
And
know,
is it here or is it?
it's in
Albuquerque?
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
It's in front of the Public Education Commission in Santa Fe. And so, yeah, it's nice to have student voices, especially,
Yeah.
even more than parents or me or staff, but we'll bring everyone.
How many students?
That's a good question, and who they are, I haven't thought about too deeply yet. I think it's always nice to have that representation of those really high achieving kids, the kids who struggled elsewhere, and just your average kid.
My kid
And
would
they're-
love to do that.
Oh, I know.
She
She'd
would
be great.
She'd
Yeah,
be really
she
good.
would be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm bringing my daughter. She's
I was
nice.
just about to recommend it.
I mean, she loves the
Because she's
school. She always
fabulous.
talks it up to be here, talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, when she's raising funds and stuff. She's really.
She is good at it. I agree with that. And yeah, have at least one middle or two middle, couple high. We'll see. We'll see who
We
we.
think about a special education student.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that would be really important.
Because that's a big part of what we learn.
It is, right.
Wow, it's a lot.
I'm gonna
So,
stop
moving on.
sharing my screen.
We moving on?
That's one. Okay, you done with your report?
Yes, I'm done.
So old business. We talked about new business, Matt, what?
Yeah, I think we can skip it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have a new business manager. You met her.
Well, do we need
Good.
to say something? Do we need to?
We
It's
do,
in the
it's in the
action
action
items.
Oh,
items.
so- okay, sorry.
It's just the opposite.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
Harry, just
gotcha.
with the minutes, if you can get them to me as soon as possible,
You gotta get the recording to me as soon as possible.
no problem.
Okay,
I can share it with you tonight.
perfect.
Very good.
I need to send it to the
Harry,
PPC
what?
because it's it's a point within the renewal process that we have.
Yep.
that.
And Director's evaluation. That was due back in June or something.
It's the
wasn't it?
process, right?
Okay, yes, we met, Alex and Amy Clara, and I met, and I took sort of the findings of, sort of summarize what we talked about. I wrote a draft of it was the faculty version of the staff version. It's not the parent version of the director's evaluation. And then Alex said, I wanted to make a few changes. I said, sure. She said, are these okay with you? I said, I trust you implicitly. And that's where it landed. As far as I'm concerned, it's done. We used a document from another school. I even gave credit for it. I said, we were grateful for the template and we shortened it. Now, there's a section that we're supposed to do that we're not sending to staff. There were to be two versions. It was basically staff review plus the GC section. And Alex would have to tell you, but we did meet, as far as I'm concerned, it's a done document.
What's done is the evaluation document, not the evaluation itself.
Correct.
No,
Here we
I
go.
haven't.
Yeah, sorry.
Met
You're
with
making sure
anyone
I'm
or heard
I
understanding.
sent
anything
mine
about it.
to Tager. I think we were all supposed to send them to her. Like, we had the document fill out, do the interviews and do all that stuff. Like, and we had each
I
had a
haven't done that
category.
No.
Oh, I did
Doesn't ring a
mine
bell.
and sent it in.
No, it doesn't.
Immediately. Yeah, no, I'll show you what.
Alex finally, she did
Yeah.
write back. She went home early. She was feeling really sick. She forgot all about it.
So she got a bug.
But I remember the part where we prepared the questions and such. but,
Each of us got
I
a
remember that part,
category.
Responding.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
question.
Each
Oh,
of us got a
exactly.
category.
Oh, sure, we did that.
We
Yeah.
did that
I
and
thought
she's
you
got
meant
them.
you filled the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, filled it out, did the interviews and everything, sent it back to her. That's what she wanted.
Really?
I'll tell you what I
What
got.
interviews?
Let me see what my category was. Maybe I got a category where I had to talk to teachers. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know.
maybe so.
Let me look. That was in the spring, I think.
You're ahead of the game, Alex.
No, I just like to do it right away so I don't have to think about it.
So you can ride your motorcycle.
Exactly, and not go to meetings.
And I thought Alex would be the courier, Alex Tager would be the courier of that document tonight, so I do definitely.
Right.
Would you
Evaluation.
like me to
So,
send
no,
it,
I
or-
think we need to schedule a time that you meet
Well,
with me and give me an
It's
evaluation.
it's on the
Isn't that like a
contract.
closed
There's a
session
contract
during the
deadline.
GC?
We
And
had to
one
do
of the-
this.
My recommendation was that
Sounds familiar.
we set aside a time to give Steve you out of the room. And it should be done independently. I mean, it shouldn't be the staff getting together and talking about how they want to evaluate you, but designate a time at one of those Wednesdays or a staff meeting, say, that's what this time is for, so you get 100%.
And we don't
participation.
have any dedicated staff time right now
Yeah.
for 2 months because of the craziness of right now. And so, I mean, you can come separately to middle and high school meetings, but to have all of the staff together won't happen again. Last week was the last time, unfortunately. So, yeah. I tried to do staff meetings last year.
I give it
that
to
took
her
this
person.
long.
What's that?
Just people
I
just-
handed it to her in the
So I'm
meeting.
just not, I can't invest
I
time.
tell you, it's so much more efficient to have
I
staff
know.
be than
Peso, peso.
than to go through chasing down.
It's rather-
people,
I
reading
agree.
emails.
I agree.
So what's the next step as far as you're concerned? Just contacting Alex Tager?
Yeah,
Finding out
let
where we're
me,
at?
I'm gonna wait a day to let Alex heal up, but I'll contact Alex and see where things stand.
We need to do it, we need to look at our contract and do it on that day. It
Do
was
you
very
remember-
specific.
How behind
So
you
I
are?
signed a 2-year contract, right?
Yeah.
And so it's good until the end of this fiscal
Okay.
year, June 30th. There is a thing that came up with that, but I didn't get it on the agenda. And it would be a fine time to talk about it at the evaluation, when you give me the evaluation, which, I mean, the contract doesn't give a timeline for that, but I would.
No,
It
really
there
does,
was-
like-
it
there
does.
was a
There is a
timeline.
date
In the
on the
contract.
contract.
Yes, I
There is a date.
Okay,
But we already
I can
passed
pull it
that
up.
time. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
Well,
already
not
over
if,
that
not if
time.
we just decide we don't have to do it the first year.
Right.
We're only doing it for the second year of the
Yeah.
contract.
We skip it for the
We're
first
ahead.
year. But still, like, I feel like missing a piece there, like, because
I
if
don't
she
like
said
to-
something
you know,
that doesn't.
yeah, I would like.
I don't think
feedback.
we're missing a piece. I think
No,
we
we
can
have
write
to
it.
do
That's
it. Yeah.
To know what.
what it sounds like.
Proficient.
I don't feel
Mastery.
comfortable skipping anything on a contract. I don't care if we need it or not. It's on
We're gonna
contract.
shoot it.
Okay,
So probably carving out time in the next agenda for either, sharing that evaluation in closed session or whatever that is.
well, when you,
But
okay, when you contact Alex, if you guys come up with something for the next agenda, you'll let us know. Am I hearing right what you're gonna do?
Yeah, but something for the next.
She's
agenda.
thinking we need to have another discussion as a governing council. I'm thinking that depends on what you and Alex. come
Oh,
up
I
with.
didn't say you had to. I just said we need to do it
We
at
need to
some
do it.
point. With
So-
me, the evaluation. that
Oh,
you
the
need
actual
to have
evaluation.
Yeah,
The closed session, it needs to be in the agenda. We need
Yes.
to
Right.
do that
Yeah.
at
So-
some point.
Not to make myself into a nudge, but I'd be willing to send an email out to staff, have this thing on whatever, like a Google form. And if I would like for the evaluation to be anonymous, although we had built in, you can sign this thing if you want to. But I would be willing to track my former colleagues down and say, hey, we'd love to hear from you
Right.
about this.
Right.
And because I think we could check it off and still be within the realm of, it would be an anonymous survey, but we'd know who did it, that's still legit, right? Yeah. I mean,
I think the
I
Google
would,
form-
I would
I mean,
take
you
that
can
on.
certainly make
Unless
it
only 3 people
anonymous
answer.
and let them
Yeah.
choose to sign if they want.
Mm-hmm.
I would be willing to, I don't think that would be horrific.
we had a special meeting just to organize this, like 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, I remember.
This all
Yeah,
should be done,
sure.
yeah.
Well, there were more steps to come after that. What we did is
Yeah,
we
we
assigned,
haven't done a single
we signed
We had
parts
it up there.
and
Wait
we,
a minute.
and we turned in parts and then,
We turned it all in,
And
and
then
that,
nothing
that's the
happened.
end of it, everything.
Yeah.
The evaluation is written.
Yeah.
the
It's
evaluation
ready to be
form for
distributed to
staff
people.
and the evaluation. So there were 10 parts, as I recall. And staff was only one of the 10, as I recall. I might be wrong.
This is a-
It's been so long, I don't remember.
You weren't there. You weren't.
I know, but I must
don't
be
think.
talking about.
Yeah, you weren't on yet.
No, I remember last time we had it on the agenda, I had questions on my notes about it and
Yeah.
the things I wanted to say, and then we removed it from the agenda.
She removed it. She was there saying we
Yeah.
don't have time for this, because there was
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
something about
And so
school, we had to
that's-
move you and.
That's the last memory I
So she
have
tabled it,
of,
yeah.
I
of
don't
the-
remember.
the
So
actual
you have
evaluation.
a staff form for evaluating the director that's done. That's great. That's not the whole thing.
Well, we also have the questions that we as a GC have to evaluate.
Oh, really? Because I think
Yes.
those were the other 8 or something.
Yeah.
You have those because Alex had them with our feedback. And we just didn't know that she did something with it.
No, we haven't because we used it. Another school's
Yeah,
document.
yeah, we looked at the other school's
Yeah, yeah,
document.
Okay.
and we all took one-
And we altered the
yeah,
questions
yeah.
a little, like,
We
we thought
voted-
that's the work we
We
did.
voted on which one we wanted because there were
Right.
3 options and we chose that
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
And then we each took a section
Exactly.
to modify it.
Yeah,
Or
turn
fill
those
out.
in-
No, it was
Exactly.
different categories.
No, okay, so Sebastiano and I remember We each took one to modify
The
the
question.
questions and turned those into Alex, but not to fill out. We didn't think we were supposed to fill anything out. That's what we thought.
Given a form to fill out.
Okay, and then we didn't hear any more.
Yeah,
That's
that's the last step that we learned.
So
Yes,
Alex
and we
met,
do.
with- Alex and I met with Ricardo when we didn't have a meeting last month. And I said, I'm gonna turn this into an evaluation. And it's, as far as, I think it's done, but do I need to send it out to you guys? Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah, we just,
asked
the
them
three of
to.
us met. We didn't have
Okay.
a
In
quorum.
June,
I
we
didn't
asked
remember
them,
that part.
No, it was a
yeah,
committee.
Okay.
yeah, we asked
It's a
them
quorum that we
to,
have.
No,
meet, so that we didn't do it.
Oh,
as
it was a
whole-
committee, a different.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Committee,
it wasn't
as
just-
our
Yeah, I
council.
volunteered at the meeting. I'll help you work
Yeah.
on that. I did, it's
And
not
I was
a
like,
meeting.
thank you, thank
I
you.
got you. Okay, I got it.
You don't need it for.
No, I'm just saying they had a quorum. It's Tager, him, and Amy, that's a quorum.
Yes, that's a quorum. They should have noticed it.
Exactly, that's all I was saying. I'm not saying
Don't worry about it.
you shouldn't have done it, but I'm just saying you gotta be careful with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But also, don't worry about it. You don't have to redo your work. Anytime three of us get together, it's
You have
supposed
to
to be
announce it.
noticed.
Especially when you're doing stuff like this.
A subcommittee. Okay,
But
If it's an
three
invite, yes.
GC
I'm gonna use
members.
the rest.
yeah, I don't wanna, I don't wanna argue about it. I
Yeah.
just wanna know.
I have
I
to.
mean,
make
I was
myself
deferring to
not
Alex.
control
If,
this meeting,
if
so I
the
have to
committee
go.
members are members of this council, not like parents and students.
Right.
And there are three of them, technically that has to be published.
Okay.
According to the Open Meetings Act resolution that we've adopted. If you happen to meet at a party, it's okay.
But it gives them punished. All right.
There's no punishment. That's my point.
Oh, that's what I was confused because if they met with purpose,
Yes.
like that sounds.
They actually didn't take action, but they're still
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
notice that they're meeting.
How you saying we asked them to meet? We asked
Mhm.
them to do that.
That's my recollection. We asked them to do that, or we approved their offer. Jim offered,
Without, spelling out that they was gonna.
I think
become
you're right.
something
I
else.
think we
Yeah.
didn't help them remember.
Yeah.
It's all of our fault.
Yeah.
Except maybe Alex. who's
I didn't
gone.
know, I had no idea.
Alex is innocent.
It's all Alex's fault.
I was asleep.
You turned in everything, you.
I
even,
turned it
like-
immediately. I went, and did all the interviews, talked to everybody, went, and then sent it in. And she's like, well, we're not gonna do it now. I was like, okay. Now we don't remember anything.
Should we go ahead and talk about reorganization of GC officer roles? Because we don't need Alex. We don't need Hannah for that, do we?
Sure, yeah, I don't know what this is about, but yeah, let's go.
The committees, the thing is our president, the committees and secretary and.
I
the
thought it was-
Vice
I
president.
thought it was about
and the-
officers. That's what I thought it was
Also
about.
have the secretary and the.
Maybe
vice
we do need
president.
Hannah, because we don't know what it's about. Like, when reading this, it means she wants to change the duties of the secretary and the vice chair
Who
and the
wants to
chair.
change it?
Whoever put this on the agenda,
I got you. Okay.
Alex or Hannah.
That
I'm
was
not sure
Alex.
who it
We
was.
don't know what's going on. All
I
right.
didn't make the agenda.
No, that was Alex.
Okay, we don't know about reorganization of GC officer roles, and we don't know what needs to be reorganized.
Reorganization means, because, yeah, you're gonna take new positions,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know if that's what she means,
That is what she.
because that's the action item. New, right,
So.
new
it's-
officers is the action item.
Right, so the reorganization is who's gonna be president, who's gonna be vice, who's gonna be
Yeah, you sound
secretary.
confident. That's not how I would
But
phrase
he,
it.
he just became secretary. I mean, we just did that.
But,
She wants to quit as chair.
yes, Alex
Okay.
is done
Right,
as
she
chair.
told
And
everybody
it's
that.
been a year, more than a year since she became chair, and so board reorganization can happen whenever you want it to happen.
Yes.
And that's why she put it on there, she feels it's time. But she's not here, and I can't speak for her.
She talked to me about that. I'm sure she spoke with you.
She
I
told
think
the
she spoke-
whole council that.
Yeah.
I put it in the minutes.
Yeah.
Alex
Yeah,
does not
she's a
want to be
member.
chair.
Right, so we need to
We
reorganize.
need to adopt new officers
She said that back in
in August.
December.
Yes,
You do.
she said it several times.
That's what he said.
Yeah, she's been saying that for a
A
while.
long
So,
time.
I propose that we not talk about it in old business, that we save it for action. Like, I don't know why it's on here twice.
Okay, but don't we have to have a
Yeah, I mean,
nomination
the
and
action
do all
was
that,
gonna
like,
be the action.
Right.
Okay.
So let's talk about now
Sounds like-
what the action is gonna look like. What about?
What are we
that?
gonna do?
election
We're gonna
officers.
nominate someone? So people are gonna volunteer?
So
Like,
I'm
what are we
willing
gonna
to be chair since this has already been discussed.
do? Okay,
And you're willing to be secretary.
Unless somebody's champing at the bit to do it. But yeah, it's called willing.
I was
This is
just
a PowerPoint.
secretary before him.
You would want to be secretary?
I
James?
was before him.
Yeah, right.
So
It
you're
would be
saying you're
nice not
done.
to do it again,
Right.
but if nobody else do it, I'll do it, but
No, I-
it'd
I'm
be
happy
nice
to
if
do it.
everybody did a little bit.
Move from willing to have.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. I would be willing to.
Do you feel we need a vice chair? Because it was
Yes.
on the form that we
Yes,
didn't have one.
Absolutely have to have. It is.
Absolutely.
They are not
Okay.
happy that they keep mentioning.
Who
I-
wants
I
to be
could-
vice chair?
I could be a vice chair. I'll help you out if you need. Or him.
Is there any competition?
Doesn't sound like there's any.
All right.
No,
Yeah, come on.
Obviously, I'm wanting to get going.
All right, next,
I'm never gonna make
do we-
8 o'clock.
Are there just those three positions? There's not a.
yeah, those are the three.
Is there, do we have to have a treasurer? We didn't, right?
Now, this one, for what?
I don't think we have to.
We don't
have
have any money. What are we gonna treasure? Okay, we got
I
a
wouldn't
business
call 2
manager.
million not no money.
Okay, that's a business manager. We're talking treasurer.
I don't think we need. one.
New business, GC bylaw revisions. Okay,
So this one and item B. I want to know if we can share that folder with them.
It's an internal folder. So I can create Aldo Leopold emails for them through the Google, so they'd have 2 Aldo accounts. Or we can just download it and send it.
And
to
send
them.
it, okay. So let's start with the bylaws, since that's the first one. So Kelly Callahan identified some things in our bylaws that either weren't there or needed to be addressed. And then Hannah and I went through them and identified many more small things. And we have drafted revisions to address all these issues. And we need to get it done, of course, in time for charter renewal.
Yeah, and it never even occurred to me to share that with anyone.
And I very belatedly asked if we could have copies here. You
When
might
did
not
you
even
ask?
see that sometime this
Oh,
afternoon,
God.
right?
I had a fight
was like-
at Backpack Base Camp.
Oh,
I was
no,
in
seriously.
custody.
So are you all okay if we still have a marked up version, right?
Yes,
We did
have a
the
marked up-
toggle
I
back.
have it on my
Perfect.
computer.
If we send out a marked up Word document so that you can see the strike throughs, you can see the additions that are underlined, and you can decide if you're comfortable with it, so you vote next month.
so we can see what the previous original. and
Exactly.
the new-
It's
yeah,
all
that's
there.
fine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Would that work rather than going over?
yeah, 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 instead of
tonight?
having 2 copies.
Because we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
bring copies.
No, do the work in progress. one.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank you.
So that's what you'll get from one of us,
Harry's
presumably from
gloating
me.
because I'm like, I just want it to be clean. And he's all, I like the strike through. And so then
wasn't
you
gonna
were
go-
right.
I
you were
wasn't gonna
right.
go
Good
through
job. Good job.
I'm not
Good
Well, it's gonna
call.
save
We'll
paper.
send
You
it.
don't have to do 2 versions.
No.
just wanting to get done.
Yeah.
I know.
That's
So-
the best way to do it.
There will be un chorro of policies coming at you that needed revision. The first 9 are here, and for the most part, they're really small changes. Like we had a name.
And they were
and stuff
recommended
like
by
that.
Kelly. And
Right.
they either follow statute or change a word. Yeah.
And I should have thought earlier about how to have the discussion, same as the bylaws, but even simpler because the changes are so minor. But again, how would you guys feel if you just get, in this case, all you would get would be the new version of these policies, because these were done in Google Sheets by different, or Google Docs,
Docs.
by different committee members. And there was no coordination of how to save changes that are being made, but these are not long involved policies, and I really think y'all can probably read them pretty fast. would you be okay if I send these to you
Yes.
to review for the September meeting?
And then if you want, we can go find the old one and compare them ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
they're all in
Okay.
policy
Yeah.
manuals. somewhere.
Assuming that we have them.
There are some that are brand new, that were added as
Okay.
policies to have that didn't
Can,
used to
can,
The
exist.
racialized
can you tell
aggressions
us now which one
policy.
are the new?
I don't think we had a racialized aggressions policy,
We
right?
didn't before.
So number 8, I believe is new. And I don't know about the ELL program
I kind of
policy.
feel like that might be new.
I
I
think
really
it's
don't
new
know
also.
for sure.
I think 5 might be new also.
So Harry, you will send those.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't need to give you.
And
the-
I will send the bylaw document because it's on my computer. The other is shared, but thank you. All right.
Absolutely.
So then the next new business item is the conversation of can we move the GC meeting to the third Thursday instead of the second? The reason being that Justine, their organization does this for a ton of charters. I don't remember, it's like 36 or something. She doesn't do all of them. They have a case manager, like people for each, but she has 2 other governing councils that she has to meet with on Thursdays, second Thursday. And we moved her in the agenda, so she was first thing and she can do that, but she just asked that I put it out there and see if anyone cared if we moved governing council meetings to the third
We can move
Thursday.
it until we find a business manager who works here and then go back if we want.
I would not be able to attend any of those meetings. I'm a member of the Grant County Search and Rescue. They meet third Thursdays.
Oh, okay.
At 6:30.
So the answer is no. Yeah, I'm not gonna have you step down for that. And she can make it work. She just said, talk, throw it out there, see if it can work.
Sorry about that.
Does that have to be a Thursday?
Yeah.
Kind of, because of all of our other committee meetings, they tend, so I have high school, yes,
Because the other meetings usually are a lot earlier, like they're 4.
a lot
or
are,
3.
but Tuesdays are always full. It could be the 4th Thursday, but that's really late.
wait.
I don't know. Does it matter? Then it's
We
almost
also
like
have an
Easter.
ongoing commitment the 4th Thursday.
What is
Yeah.
that?
Trivia.
Oh, you have trivia.
How is that going?
First 2, I think have been good.
Tell her no. It's fine. We'll
Good.
just
We're
keep her at
paying her
the
enough.
front of the agenda
There
for
you go.
now, and maybe someone else can move theirs.
There you go.
Well, and she's one getting paid, we're not, so.
Yeah,
I mean.
no, she will make,
It's a
she
chunk of
said,
money.
yeah, she said she can make it work.
I mean, come on.
Cool. New rules for meetings.
I've already talked about that, the live stream,
Yeah.
So as far as the link needed on the website, that's not a problem?
not a problem.
No, it's just not active because it takes time for it to become live.
Yeah,
Like,
it was,
It's not same day.
and
Yeah.
Harry, I get to blame you. So, because you own the Facebook page and I am just on there, but you created it, I cannot live stream to our Facebook page and I don't want to recreate it. I can't, there's so much historical stuff there. So I'm
can
like,
make
oh,
that
I'll
list,
create a
right?
YouTube channel,
I
no
think she
problem.
already is an administrator.
Then I am an administrator, but I didn't create it. And so I cannot
That's not enough.
live
Only he
stream.
can create live streams.
Yeah, anyway, but I mean,
That
I
sounds
bought
wrong.
Zoom to do
Sounds
this, we
wrong.
have a
Now, if you're
professional
in
account.
Facebook,
I read
you
how to
generate
do it,
a
and then I
live
ran into a
stream
lot of
with
issues, I
people
fixed
who
them,
have
it'll
used
be
to live
fine
stream the
next
How
time.
do they
Oh.
not
That's how it
consider
works.
Zoom
Oh.
live stream?
So Hannah, can I generate the link and just send it to you or something?
No, because
what-
I only can generate the link through the Zoom that I have paid our school's money for, to have a professional account that live streams, right? And
Okay.
and so Facebook is out, that's
All right,
fine.
fine.
YouTube,
I don't care.
Good.
I really do.
I don't either.
I
just want it to work.
It'll be fine.
It'll work from now
It'll
on.
work from now on.
Okay,
And then, yeah, we'll work together to bring, I have all the recordings for the past year or so, I'll
Oh,
bring
we
them
can
up
work on
and then we're gonna upload all on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel for us now.
And then
It's
all
just
you,
called-
and then again, have to put them on the
I got it.
webpage.
That's
so-
easy.
Maybe you'll get a lot of views, make some money.
That's
Yeah.
right, we're gonna monetize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get so many
Yeah.
followers.
So
Pay for a
popular
$1.2
content.
million
We
dollar
won't need a bond.
Content creation.
The
That's
most
right.
boring
Are we on the
content
13th?
creation ever.
What?
Are we on to
Yes.
Roman 13?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's 13, exactly.
Okay, we're on to
Input.
13.
Okay, action items.
No, input, what? No,
That
I have
was
some,
the
I have some
input.
input.
Oh, you have more, okay.
Well, so, somebody has to notify PED that Amy has resigned.
Thank you for reminding
And that used to be
us.
Melissa.
Yeah,
So
it's
I thought I
me.
would remind you. It's you?
But until we accept, do we need to accept her do you all need to accept her resignation?
No.
You don't?
She
No.
just has to notify us.
Okay.
That's what makes it effective.
Okay, great. I will work on it tomorrow. I'll try and get it done right away. I have the form.
So
We haven't gotten
I
other
think the
ones.
chair
in
has to
tonight.
do that, don't they? Isn't it the chair?
No, I found out that it didn't have to be the chair.
Well,
It can be.
Can be.
it can be,
Well, why
yeah,
don't
well,
you do it then? I haven't,
well, he's not the chair
I,
yet.
that's right. I'm just making sure the job is done.
yeah.
As chair,
Because as you saw, they have a checklist of
yeah.
how many
And
timely
how
and
many times
untimely.
we've been timely and untimely? Lots.
So,
Exactly.
Ken, are you in any way in charge of me receiving my education to be a board member? Is that strictly Wayne? Because Canvas has sent me repeated messages I can't log on. I've written to say,
I have nothing to do with it,
okay,
but
should
I
bug Wayne
can,
about this? or-
who what I would reach out to about it is Melissa Brown at
Yes.
PED.
She's the one.
So,
Okay.
and her address is.
She goes by Missy.
She
You're
does
right.
go by
Missy Brown,
Missy.
yeah.
And she's all things training for boards and she's great.
She is
Yeah,
great.
she's
So helpful and
Okay.
just a wonderful human. And she will tell you what you need to do. So it's melissa.brown, no E at the end, at ped.nm.gov.
Nice.
It's, I'm sorry, what was it after the?
I have
ad?
it up there for
Oh.
you. Melissa.brown at ped.nm.gov.
Second,
And she really is super
Thanks.
helpful. Absolutely.
there you learn all about the quorums, and rolling quorums. and-
That's right.
Wherever for you.
Yeah.
So I have a
don't
second
mean
piece
to
of
be hard
info.
time about it, but
No.
you'll see in
That's-
that training, they harp on that so
My second
much.
piece of input is just for you, so I'm not gonna wait.
I was just ticked because.
We got a
Well,
does not
we can-
comply rating because our Sunshine Portal link is not on the website. Are
I-
you familiar with the
It is
Sunshine
on the
Portal?
website. I can. show
Okay,
it
so
to
that's
you.
another one you're dealing
I
with?
run the website. Sebastiano has been helping
just
with a
been
couple
helping, but
things, but
it's-
I am the website manager
you
and I
need
can guarantee.
Fewer things to
you-
do here.
I know, I want someone to manage my
This
website.
gentleman can handle our website.
Right here under.
Well, so what they're saying is they
Sunshine
couldn't find it,
Okay,
I guess. I mean, it's in red, right?
I
Not
didn't see
Out of
that.
compliance.
There it is. It's
Okay.
right. Where did you see that?
In that thing you asked us to review to see if there were errors.
Okay.
Oh, it has to be in
I just
red.
read it again this morning and I didn't
What?
see
It
that.
has to be in red, you said?
No, I think they put it in red. I think
they
the,
put
the
it-
things we don't meet,
It's in,
I think they're in red.
I
Okay.
haven't seen whatever
I'll,
that
I'll
is.
write
It's in your
to the AI person who
asked
I
us to
don't know
review
who
it.
it is tomorrow.
person.
mid-July,
term.
maybe. I can find it.
Oh my gosh, there is a mosquito down there.
We're getting it.
Okay, I think I'm done with my input. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, action items.
No, wait, I have one more.
Ah,
request.
jeez.
Hannah, are you following up with the company for the Buddhism app,
For which app?
for the?
Oh, yeah, the
Okay.
see something, say something app. I did my training for it last week. And the other staff members who are part of
I
the
never- I
team
didn't
haven't
get-
completed their training yet. We're a little behind schedule on that. But once they
I'm not
complete
on
it,
this
we will be
email.
rolling out. Our go live date is next Monday, but I don't think we're gonna meet
These
that
are all-
because people haven't done their training.
No, but it's good.
It's
that you
coming.
guys are-
Yeah,
They're
we're
blameless.
working on it and it's awesome. Like
Am I
the
right again?
materials for the
And
training are
blameless.
really good and the support's
Innocent.
really good. We just need everyone to finish their stuff and it's a really
wouldn't
busy
read it.
time to ask them to do it.
All right, I made the mistake. I thought Hannah sent it to everybody. It was not true.
Oh.
The part A,
Oh, I can send it to her.
You need to read it.
I think so personally.
I don't think, so I think
You
I
wanna see
sent
what
it
they're
to
saying
you,
about us?
Harry, because a
Not
lot of
really.
it, you're not gonna know if there's errors. You aren't, you know,
But you
like,
should know what they think.
sure,
Okay,
I'll forward it to you.
I know what the feds think of
Yeah, well,
that up in
too.
New Mexico, all their glowing
Right,
reports.
right?
Like
It's not that bad.
it's really,
No, what
no, us
what
compared
Ped
to
thinks
them.
of us is not that bad
Oh,
No.
okay.
compared
they
to what the
like
feds
us.
think of Ped,
I just feel it's ridiculous that they're here
right?
busting our chops and they're doing a way worse job than we are.
Right. Should we on Roman 4? Oh, are you done? You're in?
Yeah.
Awesome.
See how it doesn't have a name? Dear Ms. Wex, thank you from Options for Parents and
Yeah,
Families,
it's
Charter
AI.
School Division.
It's a-
Amazing.
Harry, I'm not gonna be at this next meeting in September because going back to.
All right.
So I will need somebody else to be secretary, but I promised them.
Oh, no, they'll do the
There-
video,
There's
then you can
actually
do
an
the note.
AI option in Zoom that transcribes everything, and I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, but
so-
minutes aren't transcription. That would be
No,
so
No, but then
long.
a secretary would go through and take the
Well, that is what I
transcription
do.
and, yeah,
That's
so,
why I'm waiting for,
right. Anyway, we could have the transcription for you. You'll want to see it anyway, and then you could
we'll work
summarize
out.
it.
I'm
Does
not
that
gonna
sound
make
okay?
you do that.
You're not, oh, Barry's not gonna be.
While he's on vacation,
But I can do it when I get back.
reunion,
No, exactly, yeah.
you have to do it within 10 days.
So,
Of our
because
meeting.
I haven't taken
I thought it was
Amy off
three.
yet,
I thought it was 3 days.
so it's just Sebastiano
It's three.
wants
Wow.
to see
I don't
this,
believe it is, but we can check.
Jim wants to see this,
I don't believe it is, but we can check.
I'm pretty sure it's
and
3 days.
Alex
Pretty
wants
sure
to
it's
see
three. You're right.
this. I am forwarding you the report that Harry's referencing. Harry already
All right.
has it, and
Oh, the one
I
you said I
did it
got,
so
okay,
that
yeah.
Alex Tager gets it from PED
Okay.
because she's chair. So I sent it for the rest of it.
So I think we're on 14.
14 action items. So what, a new business manager
I'd
hire?
like
Oh,
to
we
move
just have
approval
to,
that we hire the Hill Group
I'll send
as
it.
our new business manager.
all right, all in favor?
Is that good enough, Hannah?
I,
We don't
Aye.
have to say her name. Okay,
Justine.
Okay,
They
aye,
said you
all,
do-
all
Yeah.
approved,
we don't have to
that's
say
it.
Justine Vihil. We
okay.
can just say the Vihil
Then
Group.
the group
But I
decides.
do need the,
So that's what I
you know,
mean.
Unanimous.
the paper where we have action.
Yeah,
items.
he's
Do you
gonna
have
write
it?
it down.
Secretary
That's
does
all.
that.
Okay, Secretary. does
All
that.
right,
Secretary hasn't done it yet.
item 14B was
No,
deleted.
G.
14B, new officers.
So
I,
this is how some of our teachers want the grading system to be, just A's and D's.
yeah. All right, I make a motion, I nominate, I guess, Harry Brown to be our new chair. All in,
Let's
or
do them all.
second?
And.
Oh, no, we'll just vote once,
Yeah,
do it all
so we
together.
vote once.
All right,
Let's do
I
them
make a
once.
motion that Harry's the new chair. Jim is the new secretary and I'll be the vice chair. Second,
Hi, second, let's do
all
second.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourning the meeting until the next second Thursday of next month. It
Which
is
we will-
7:59.
Have to suffer without Jim. So
One
that's
minute to
the
spare.
12th of September.
12th of September.
It
Okay.
happens to be Denise Blake's birthday.
Do we need to notify CSD of that?
Yes.
And is there a different form for that?
I don't know.
Does my secretary, oh, yeah, Jim, do you want to look for that form?
This is a question for Missy Brown.
Okay,
To
Tell me again, I-
notify the charter school division of change in officers, board reorganization, whatever you want to call it.
I think that was a
Are
change.
you up for doing that?
yeah, this is, if it's Missy Brown, I have.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and
true.
she's pretty
There you go.
responsive.
And do,
She is
so basically,
Yeah.
do we need to announce?
How do, I know that we
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
ask
sure that
her-
we do,
Ask her
How
for
do
the
you-
form.
but we
or
don't know if
whatever.
there's a form.
That's true, it could just be.
Could just be Neiman.
I don't-
We don't.
I've never seen a change. We've had a lot of changes, like I've never,
Okay,
So
Never seen a
a
change. in
form
them.
just to notify them that we've changed the officers. So, okay. That's it. Who's the chair of the curriculum committee?
Well, and since we only have 5 members
I
now, we
don't,
need
it
to
was
recruit some people.
Fiona and then it was
Well,
so we
Ally.
need to do that.
I don't know if
Like,
they're
we really need
co-chairing
it.
it.
When you
Curriculum
look at the
didn't meet
bylaws that we're
last
gonna
week
send out,
when it was supposed to.
take
We're
a
gonna
look
meet at the
at
end.
new
But
member
we've done
recruitment
really
section,
good work in there
because the
last
previous
year.
bylaws
And
had
I
two
think Fiona,
contradictory versions
I don't know.
of how we
Let's-
recruit members.
I'm gonna,
So
for
we
my 2 committee assignments, I'm
made
gonna
an executive decision,
probably serve on
took
risk
one
meeting.
away.
I'd rather
kept
not
the other.
serve on chat.
That's fine.
Um,
We're making Shack quarterly and Mark is gonna be
Yeah, we
chair.
definitely need.
And I think that that's really good. I'd love
Yep.
having you on risk and I'd love you on curriculum.
That's the,
Um,
where I want to go. I may talk
Would
to
you
Ally.
chair curriculum?
Have you, by the way,
me
stopped
think about
recording?
Okay, think about it, because I feel like we went through 2 chairs and that's why I can't remember who's who. Okay, I'm gonna end this recording. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for all the hard work.
Yeah,
you're
good
doing
job.
here. It's squashing everybody.